Good morning, Canada. Hope everyone is doing well. This is essentially our World Cup final. No chat about this not meaning anything. This means everything. And it's great to have you along for our final Canada watch party of Qatar 2022. I am, of course, Adam Jenkins. We got the special jacket out for the special day. This handsome lad back here is Josh Deming. Alex Gange-Ruzik, he is doing his
Twitter.
What is it? Twitter analytics?
Yeah.
Brainy stuff?
Twitter.
Yeah.
What do you want to call it officially?
Just analysis.
Analysis.
Well, that's the word to encompass it all.
The AGR analysis. We can work on that. Chat. We will be doing roll call at some point, so don't be shy. Let us know where you're watching from. Love seeing everyone where they're tuning in from, whether it's different countries, different provinces. I don't think we've seen the Yukon. We've seen the Northwest Territories, but there's a few we had. I don't remember seeing a single Prince Edward Island yet. So we need Charlottetown. Charlottetown need to turn up today. We have seen Nova Scotia, seen plenty of Halifax, New Brunswick, etc. They've been there. It's been great. We're going to go through starting 11s. We're going to get you set. Of course, we are getting very, very close to kickoff. 10 a.m. Eastern time. That is 11:30 a.m. in Newfoundland and Labrador. Josh, we're going to go through the starting 11 in a moment, but just overall thoughts. How you feeling about the game? Ready to go?
Yeah, it's different. I mean, first two games, there's qualification on the line.
Right.
Now it's just like, okay, I'm still hoping for history. First point, maybe a win. Play spoilers, but you don't have those nerves, I guess. And I mean, clearly Herdman doesn't either. I mean, but given at that starting 11, I don't know what you guys are thinking about that. But I don't know. All in all, I am excited. It's a World Cup game. It's the last one. Got a nice little award ceremony afterwards. So I'm ready to go. I wish I had a jacket like yours, but I went with the fun, Canada shirt today. But yeah, so I'm ready to go.
I will reserve no judgment for not having other jackets. Zaz YouTube says, hello, guys. Everyone in the chat is talking about the starting 11, so let's just show the starting 11. By the way, good morning to you as well, Burnaby, British Columbia, for joining us. Okay, so let's pull this up. There's been a lot of tweets, clearly. Starting 11 for the Canadian men's national team against Morocco. Milan Borjan, Alistair Johnston, Sam Adekubi, Kamal Miller, Stephen Vittoria, Junior Hoylett, Tajon Buchanan, Mark Anthony Kay, that's going to be one we have to talk about, Kyle Larin, Alphonso Davies, and Jonathan Osorio. So the first one that jumps up, Eustaquio. He got hurt in the last match before halftime. That is why Hutch ended up playing longer than I think a lot of Canadians expected and some wanted him to. Yeah. Ishmael Kone, I think, is the big surprise not being here with Mark Anthony Kay in. Speaking of analysis, here he is. Okay.
Twitter.
You've clearly seen this for a little while, gentlemen. Let's go to Alex first on just biggest surprises and what you think this is going to look like on the field. You can go, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, there's kind of a lot to break down here. I think the biggest surprise is the midfield. I think the back four is as expected. Personally, I think it's a back four they probably should have run at some point before now.
Yep.
So I think it is nice to finally see it in action, even if it's maybe a little too late in that regard. I mean, front three, Canada's always going to have dangerous options in attack. Bit surprised to see no Jonathan David. Feel like it's a bit harsh to bench him considering, the first game where he was just so unlucky, in the second game where he hardly got a sniff at the ball. But you want Kyle Larin out there to stretch lines. But the midfield, Mark Anthony Kay, Jonathan Osorio, Junior Hoylett is a very bold midfield choice. Morocco's been very dominant in midfield. Sofiane Amrabat's been one of my players for the tournament for my money. He's been fantastic. And, Morocco actually added a bit of an offensive tweak with one of their changes. They removed one of their 8s and brought in a more offensive number 8 as well. So Morocco's going for it in midfield. I mean, I'll let Josh for his analysis, though, because I have one thing that this game does remind me of that I will bring up in a minute.
I just feel like lessons learned. I don't know. The biggest issue I found with the Croatia match was that we got absolutely ran over in the midfield. I guess it's a world-class midfield, but I mean, instead of now even having a 6 on the pitch, you essentially have a very attacking 8, an 8 that is not in good form. I'm surprised Samuel Piette didn't get in there. I would have liked. I mean, Alex and I were talking about it. And a lot of these formations were going around, like the 4-3-3. If Eustaquio's not available, which he wasn't, Piette is your 6, and then Kone and Osorio is what we wanted for those 2 8s. I mean,
look good against Croatia.
Yeah, just do something with that midfield. I'm very nervous looking at this midfield, especially with no Samuel Piette, and I think that this is a risk versus reward type thing, and I'm a little nervous now after looking at that midfield, considering that was, in my eyes, one of the biggest issues of the reason we lost against Croatia.
Yeah, what makes this the most strange to me is I don't know what he's doing. And not that I pretend that I always understand what John's thinking and what John's doing, but it's like clearly Kay's getting some love because it's the last World Cup game. He probably isn't going to be at the level he needs to be there in 26. So you give him some time. But then you're sort of rewarding some veterans without rewarding Piette. And then Borjan gets the start on that same mindset. If you're giving the veterans their flowers, like to me, you could have gone, and this I think is the debate a lot of Canadians had. Do you go 26, thinking 26 clearly, like maybe let Dane start, maybe give Kone the start, let them get that taste from playing a World Cup against a really good opposition that we're probably not going to see for a little while, because you remember we're going back to Nations League after this, and that will be the men's national team for the next little while. So I think Kay getting the start over Kone is that like reward for everything he's done, and I think there's a lot of reason that Mark Anthony Kay deserves that. But I think for me, other than David not being there, and you don't know if he picked up a knock or they're just managing some minutes, what have you there. Not that we've heard that. I don't want to sort of suggest that he's picked up some kind of injury, but I just think that Kone is the biggest missed opportunity here. What do you guys think?
Well, I just felt like even if you're going to start Mark Anthony Kay, like, or if you're going to reward someone, why wouldn't you reward Piet? Balance this team out a little bit. Have Azoria with Piet.
That's
Like,
exactly why
I
it's
just
strange.
Even Kone, the thing is with Kone, like I completely agree. Like you don't want to throw him to the wolves. Like that's why I was like, don't start him against Belgium and Croatia. But he got 30 minutes against Belgium, looked great. After getting 30 minutes against Uruguay, he got 45 against Croatia, looked great. Like at a certain point, there's only so much he can do in those auditions. So that's more the biggest surprise in that front, is that Kone has straight up earned his shot to get a look. And it's one of those where I think you'd like to see him shine on the biggest stage, because this is someone who's going to be there in 26. This is someone who could leverage this into a bigger club move. You know, right now, again, its interest seems to be waning beyond the championship. We'd like to see some Liga clubs step in. We'd like to see some top 5 leagues step in for Ismail Kone. But
I mean, Adam said it. Like he said, are you going to look for 2026 or are you going to play now? Ismail Kone is 2026, and now. Like,
he's probably the best
like
option right now.
The only other player, I guess, like Dane Sinclair could have been like an option for 2026, but like that would have been, I guess, rewarding in the future. Kone is rewarding both, and he didn't get to start. And I just, for a player who's completely fallen out of form with John Herdman, I don't know. It's a confusing 11.
Well,
and
this is what I will say for this lineup, because you said, Adam, a point about, I don't know what's going on in John's head. That's fair. I had the initial reaction at first, but this lineup does actually remind me of a certain lineup they played before. Canada-US 2-0, Hamilton. They ran a 4-4-2, Kay Azorio midfield pivot. The only 2 changes from that lineup I checked were Richie Larea was in and Jonathan David was in. Obviously, Alphonso Davies now in, Junior Hoylett now in. If you remember that game, they played a 4-4-2. They jammed up the midfield. Profile-wise, the U.S. and Morocco from that game were actually almost identical. U.S. had 2 wingers that love to invert and play inside, Pulisic and Aronson. Morocco has 2 wingers that love to play invert and play inside, and Boufal and Ziyech. They've got They got a 3-man midfield. Morocco does. So did the U.S. versus what Morocco has. Morocco has 2 very aggressive fullbacks. So did the U.S. I feel like, and even the last point is that the U.S. played Giassi Zardes that game, a number 9 who loves to stretch the field. Yusuf Nisiri is a great number 9 for Morocco at stretching the field and making defenders uncomfortable. So I do look at the profiles. The two did match up. So I do think Canada is going to look for a similar game plan to that U.S. one, where they sat deep. They were really organized and disciplined in their 4-4-2, because against Croatia, as much as maybe the personnel could have helped, rewatching it personally, I thought Canada's shape was very bad. Like they were struggling to get back into position, and I think by going with this 4-4-2 with Hoylett, Buchanan in wide areas, with Kay and Azorio in midfield, I think it's going to be a lot more discipline. I think Herdman's is prioritizing more off-ball play than maybe on-ball play or a 4-3-3.
I'll get Josh to weigh in again in a moment, but I just want to see what the chat's thinking on some of these decisions. Some people not rating Piet. Piet not World Cup level material, says Saicho67AK. Ian, disappointed that Canada is not going full youth and full speed. A little bit. I think that's generally where I would have gone if it was up to me, this selection. More I would have put out Kone. He's been good in Hungary. Agreed. Tyrone thinks Canada was in the group of death, so even though we were disappointed it was a tough ask, the only hope was that the teams we were old and slow when that was not a factor. The one thing I will say to that, from my perspective, from the very, very beginning of this tournament, I always thought that a win, a draw, and a loss would have been fine. I think the Croatia was always going to be the loss, especially coming after the high of that Belgium game. Like, that's the missed opportunity, right? The Alphonso Davies penalty, how things are different if it's 1-0 at halftime, and how they might see it out. Because aside from that, I don't think Canada's played poorly. If they win that game, sure, Croatia can be your loss, and all of a sudden this game means everything. This game is the chance where you could realistically be playing for a chance to make it to the knockout round. So expectation wise, it's a tough group, but I think when they reflect on it, they're going to feel really disappointed that they got nothing from Belgium, especially how dreadful Belgium looked against Morocco in their second game. And hearing some of their players talking about, yeah, we're not going to do anything in this World Cup. We're old. We're not going to make it.
Yeah.
Like, if Belgium gets out of the group and like that's the post game reaction from Vertonghen's and the Hazard, you're like, are you kidding me? Like that's just the extra salt in the wound. Mig says, I've been a pretty big supporter of Herdman, but for the past the last 5 games, Uruguay, Bahrain, Belgium, and Canada, or excuse me, in Croatia, the 3-4-3 just does not work. Do not understand it. I think, well, and Alex definitely thinks this because this was basically the match preview yesterday. 4-3-3 seems like the direction of the future for this team. Do you think this 11 today is maybe a step towards that, or is this just he's focusing on Morocco trying to get the win?
I think based on what we see, it's focusing on getting the win against Morocco. But I think the 3-4-3, I understand it because, again, the conundrum for John Herdman is you have too many good attackers. Yeah. And, like, how do you – it's going to be hard game after game where you're telling guys like Kyle Larin or, they have a Liga striker who hasn't played a minute this World Cup, for example. Like, they've got so much attacking talent where you're making these tough decisions where today you're sitting out one of the top scorers in Liga as well as Jonathan Davis. You got 2 Liga strikers on the bench. You got Tejan Buchanan, Alphonso Davies, all these great, attacking players. You want to get as many of them on the pitch as possible, and he tries to do that in CONCACAF, and he tried to do it. And when you get the balance right, it's fantastic. Against Belgium, they got that balance right in terms of attack, midfield, and defense, and it looked great. Obviously, they had that one mistake that kind of hurt them, but then as you see against Croatia, maybe when you go a bit too top heavy and your guys are a bit too focused on going up the field, they're not as focused on tracking back and doing the little things that you need to do. That's where you start to look. I think now one thought I've had is if you look at the modern game, all the top 50 national teams, for example, none of them play with 2 strikers. Right. Brazil plays with 1 striker. France plays with 1 striker. Even teams that play with 2 strikers, they have to play on the wing. Like,
even at club level, like it's you don't see that like Atletico, Juventus. Like other than that, it's a 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1.
Games are won in the midfield at this level, unless like you're able to go like full Atletico Madrid and jam it up. But like you're gonna need athletes in the midfield to play that sort of stuff.
I mean, that was where the concern was. I saw this going a lot on Twitter, and I don't think it's. I think it's pretty fair to say is like clearly John Herdman. I guess I thought this before starting Mark-Anthony Kaye, but clearly John Herdman doesn't have a lot of trust in his depth, and I think we saw that when Eustaquio came off and Hutch ended up playing the entirety of that match. Samuel Piet, I don't know if that Japan performance kind of like skewed that, but I mean that's what the biggest comment I was seeing going on Twitter is like John Herdman doesn't trust his depth. That's why he's stuck with this, and he just basically let the midfield get run over. And it's the reason like why he doesn't start 3 midfielders. I don't know, or if it's just he wants the 2 strikers. I don't.
I think I think his midfield. This World Cup has come at about the worst time for his midfield. Just if you look at where everyone's situation's at, Stefan Eustaquio was in great form, but he literally gassed out right before the tournament. Like the timing was terrible for Eustaquio. Like a month ago, Eustaquio's flying. In the summer, Eustaquio's flying. Hutchinson, we know how. He's only played 1 club game before heading in. Mark-Anthony Kaye, his form was struggling, and he hadn't played since September. Piet had looked great, but he hadn't played in a month. Liam Fraser's playing in the 2nd Belgium division. Like, you do wonder, if Canada is playing this tournament in the summer, their midfield looks a lot sharper, a lot fresher, and their midfield was arguably the biggest reason they qualified, in my opinion. Like, without Eustaquio playing as he did, without the underrated performances like Mark-Anthony Kaye and Jonathan Osorio at the Azteca, for example, or performances like that, they don't get here. So I think if you're Herdman, you do have to be a bit frustrated about your midfield, but at the same time, the fact that he's had a guy like Ismail Koné and maybe hasn't used him a bit more makes you wonder that maybe he could be getting more out of some certain other options too at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like it's like the profile of the midfield. We talk about the balance. Yeah. And when I look at the starting 11 today, I don't see the balance, but it's tough because, like I said, and going back to just the depth, I mean, no one's got the profile of Eustaquio. He is why a lot of people think he's probably the most important player, like him or Davies, but what he can do, no one else can. And for Herdman,
the balance to the team.
He does, and I just don't know. Like, I just feel like the like for like type of replacement to try to give that defensive shape would be Piet. And the fact that we haven't seen him barely at all just shows that to me, Herdman doesn't trust him. I don't know.
Which is strange because he's, for my money, and like I'm not gonna be ignorant and say that I watch every minute of CF Montreal and have for the past few years, but from clips I've seen from the games that I have sat down and watched a little bit more critically, this is some of the best football I've ever seen Sammy play.
Yeah.
Like, Thierry Henry's changed him. It's funny to think, like, we were all laughing at the time, Thierry Henry trying to turn Samuel Piet into an 8, but it changed him. Like, he's genuinely solid on the ball, like, solid enough on the ball to play, and I think if you can put him at a 6, he won't have to be making the 30, 40-yard passes he was struggling with against Uruguay and Japan. It is a bit weird just because you look at how good the midfields have been at this level, and Canada has conceded a bit more territory and a bit more than you'd expect them to, and that you can't afford to give against this level. And even Belgium learned it. Like, Morocco's midfield ran through Belgium's midfield.
Yeah, I think there's some shows. This is definitely up there with the toughest groups in the tournament, and I will always remember just the way the draw came out. Everyone was just so happy to be at the dance. But they're like, this is amazing. Like, no problem. Belgium, Croatia, Morocco, will run through them. They're old. We can do this. And then after that like initial euphoria waved off, you're thinking like, oh my God, this is. Especially for Canada, like this is maybe one of the worst.
This is 100%. Just because, like, I mean, Belgium, like, there's no easy team in pot one unless you get Qatar. So as soon as Qatar was off the board, you're getting a good team. Pot two, okay, maybe. The one thing that sucks for Canada is the pot two teams everyone wants, Mexico and the U.S., you can't get. So you're going to get a good pot two team. Pot three, you hope you get a good team. You get Morocco. They happen to just get Hakim Ziyech and Nasser Mazraoui back after all the beef, and they get a new coach who has them playing great. Like,
I just remember like the roller coaster emotions because like I saw the U.S.'s group, I was like, that's BS. Like I even Mexico's group, I was like, damn, like that's a good chance. And then it came down to the Germany group right there. I'm like, oh God, don't put us in that one.
Anything but that one.
And then it went to the next one. So like, okay, that was a roller coaster ride, and I don't know, but it just sucks. Like it sucks because like the U.S. got out of their group as they should. They just squeaked by. But you just imagine, like, you know, topping. I know it doesn't matter, but if we're the ones who topped it, we should maybe get the better one. I know
it just shows the pot system that Canada, like, you know, mathematically finished top in their region. Yet they were the, you know, on par with Costa Rica, who had to go through the playoff in terms of the draw. It's just funny how it works. I mean, I've always found the FIFA rankings absolutely useless. Like, at least
Belgium is clearly the second best team in the world right now. What are you talking about?
I don't know, man. But
I mean, we can go into the draw later for anger purposes, but
just to vent a little bit. Here is we are. What time are we in? 53.
5-2.
Might want to keep this stream on, at least for the anthem, because it might be coming up soon.
100%. Let's So I'm gonna go back here because we can't show DFS for obvious reasons. So let me just check to see where they're at. Oh, the anthem's right now. So let's watch that. Everybody's up. A little bit of volume in here. Maybe not.
We can fill in the blanks. I think I know what they're saying.
I think I've heard this
good
before.
guess.
Oh, that's an unbelievable jacket. Red sequin is fantastic.
There's a lot of good gear there. The Voyagers.
Look at them.
All right, a masterclass from Mark Anthony K.
Mark Anthony K is gonna score,
shut
isn't
us
he?
right up.
He's gonna score, isn't he? Okay, so let's just do this. A quick word from you guys on Morocco's election, sort of what we might expect and what we think. It's one change, I believe, right? From what we can remember.
Run change. Sabiri's in, and Abdullah is out in midfield. Everything else is the same.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
he's a bit more creative than Abdullah, so it's interesting because for as good as Morocco's midfield has been, it's been Amrabat carrying, and then the number 8s have kind of just been coasting along, so I'm not surprised to see a change there.
Yeah, they got a solid midfield, but honestly, like the two fullbacks and the two wingers got my attention today. I mean, Boufal, Ziyech are two very creative players, love cutting in, and then you got Mazraoui and Hakimi. Hakimi's been one of my favorite fullbacks to watch in general, just because he's just incredible at what he does. I mean, he's similar in a way to like a Davies, the presence that he has, the ability to get forward. Good finisher as well. I don't know, when I'm looking at this team, kind of the way Canada would look to do damage with their wings, I'm kind of looking at Morocco to do the same, except they have that, you know, that constructed three-man midfield to hopefully help lead to some of those chances.
We're not overselling Ziyech, by the way, right? Like he is an unbelievable player, and Morocco. We just touched on the two sort of late additions that Morocco was able to field. I don't know if it's the region and the fact for the most part, like AFCON especially is not the most accessible in Canada. I remember I think it was beIN Sports Worldwide Plus Extravaganza that I had to get to watch that tournament, but like they're buried in a confederation, that has so many talented nations, and I think of all of them, we sort of, if you're not following football closely, you can sometimes lose out on how strong some of these nations are. Like South Korea Republic's always slept on, Japan is always slept on, and then AFCON up and down, whether it is Senegal or Ghana from this tournament, Cameroon as well, and Morocco. It's like there are some quality players and some very well oiled groups in that region.
Yeah, and I've talked to a lot of Moroccans as well, just from this group in general. And as a Canadian, it's same as a Moroccan. You had to imagine if you're getting through the group, one's gonna have to beat the other one. So I mean, we got to this point and we're already eliminated, so it doesn't really matter. But I feel like a lot of the Canadians overlooked Morocco just because we had Croatia and Belgium in the group. And meanwhile, again, they took care of business against us. Now we're going up against Morocco, so we get to see how talented this team is. But yeah, I mean, those two late additions are huge. Hakim Ziyech has looked good, and he's not even like fully fit, obviously. I mean, he's not playing a ton with Chelsea, but you can still see the type of player. He's playing for that move. Read a couple articles of AC Milan looking at him, so he's putting on a clinic, and Mazraoui is a good fit as well. I mean, having two positions, kind of like Scotland with Robertson and Tierney, you need to find a way to get two quality players on the part, and getting Mazraoui over to the left-hand side has been really good. I always thought Hakimi would play over there because he used to play there for Dortmund a little bit, and he likes cutting in on the right, but Mazraoui's found a good home there. So I'm excited to watch them. I think it'll be a good game, and I'm just hoping for at least a draw. I don't want to go home pointless. I don't want to be like Qatar. I want to get something, and a draw will get Morocco through. So I think it's worth pointing out as well because that's all it takes for Morocco. So I don't know what kind of mindset it will be if Morocco's like, I'm up for the challenge. I want to go toe-to-toe, or we just need a point, guys. We need a point to guarantee that we're going through. Although top of the group could be on the line. I don't know. Adam, what do you think? Do you think they're just taking it with the mindset like we can take on Canada, or do you think they're gonna be a little bit more relaxed, knowing that a draw is enough?
Part of me thinks that they might have done their scout of that Croatia game and thought, oh my God, we can destroy this team. And I don't think that's arrogance either. I think you can certainly look at that and be like, oh, there is some places for our stars, especially to try and exploit. So I would expect Morocco and their supporters to think that they can come in here and get the 3 points. We're it's imminent, but I just want to update the groups. Can I see F? Yeah, here we go. So Canada, of course, the draw and the goal differential, the record and the goal differential does not help them. They would need Belgium to get spanked, which is not out of the realm of possibility, and a win to not finish bottom. Morocco, they get their point. They go up to 5. Obviously, Canada could not catch them. And then it would just come down to what Belgium and Croatia are able to do. So lots to play for Morocco, what Canada would have been hoping they would have had to play for today. Milan Borjan and his sparkly turquoise kit is there. You know what I do need to check, chat? Let's wake everybody up and make sure the batteries are on this time because I don't want Alphonso Davies to surprise me. This is... Actually, I don't want to jinx it. Josh, Phil.
Okay. We're gonna go test that out. But I think the best comments so far is the fact that the chat is obsessed with the jacket Mr. Jenkins is wearing today, and
beautiful.
Yeah, I wish I would have came a little bit more prepared. I just threw on this Canada shirt. I thought it was gonna be fun. I didn't realize that I'd be so upstaged by Mr. Jenkins, who's trying to figure that out. But, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us today, be sure to drop a like on the stream. Let us know where you're watching from. And yeah, kickoff is literally about to start. So yeah, drop a W in the chat just for Jenkins over there, because that is a jacket like no other as he is returning, and kickoff is underway.
Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, the goal light is ready to go. Alphonso Davies is not going to catch us off guard today. And yes, like Josh said, if you're joining us, let us know where you are watching from. We appreciate you joining us. If this is your first watch party, understand something very, very important here. We cannot show you the game. That is not how rights work. This is your alternate commentary, second tab, and just a different type of commentary than you're going to get from TSN or wherever you may be watching. So if you're looking for the match, it's not going to be here, but we're going to try our very best to keep you entertained and informed. Alex, we did not lose him. He is off doing his incredible analysis, and that way, when the halftime show rolls around, he can carry us through it, because that is often what Alex does on this show. Yes, roll call. Oh, sorry, one more thing. Rules for the chat. This is a place for everyone. Banter is welcome. Fernando, if you're out there, I hope you're having a miserable day. But I'm glad you'd be with us. But listen, you can have some fun. We can have some banter. We'll banter back and forth, but just keep it respectful, inclusive, all of that stuff in the chat. Otherwise, we're going to have to put Taylor to work muting people. And Taylor doesn't want to do that. Taylor just wants to watch the game, right, too? That's right. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, chat. We are in. Drop a like for Josh's lettuce. If I had that ability, I'm tapping L right now. That is He's looking good.
Yeah, I mean,
He's looking good today.
You usually rock the hat, but we're having an award ceremony afterwards, so we gotta look nice. I mean, you think that leather jacket's looking good now? Wait till Adam gets even more decked up.
I might just keep
Keep it on?
I might go white dress shirt and burgundy tie underneath it. Oh, speaking of looking good, John Herdman got the rolled up sleeves, crisp white shirt. You think he's under some pressure today?
I don't think so. I mean, especially with the comments coming out that he wants to be here till 2026. I think he's done such an incredible job. I think the word I've seen a bit is naive. Just approaching some of these games, which it's about a learning experience. No one thought we were gonna, especially get out of this group. Like it just in general when it happened, but the way that Canada was playing, there was definitely a chance. But in terms of just Herdman, I've been so happy with what he's done. I think that he can take a lot from this tournament, get better. But I would like to see him here for 2026. I don't know if you have any other thoughts on that. I think he deserves that if he wants to be here. He's done so much for this program on both the men's and women's side. I think it'd be a little unfair, especially after the fight he put up against Belgium, and then he didn't get the Croatia match right. That's fine, but I don't know. I think Twitter was a little harsh on him after that.
I mean, here's my general rule. Twitter is a cesspool of nonsense on a good day, especially when things go moderately wrong. Like, you look at... I remember the first thing I did when Mexico went to full-time yesterday was just pull up the Mexican national Twitter account. And when the replies to likes, the ratio is 1-to-1, go in there with, like, a protective jacket on, like full body armor. Understand it's not going to be a fun place. But yeah, I think that's just how people vent when they're frustrated, whether they are being a little bit sensationalist or what. I think that's a good way of putting it. They got Croatia all wrong.
But I mean, imagine a year and a bit ago saying Canadians would be frustrated that they didn't get out of a group with Belgium, Croatia, Morocco. Like, that's where the expectations have changed, because Canada has done so well to get to where they were. And we genuinely had a shot. Like I said, we just needed a result against Belgium, and this could have been, Borjan.
Oh, Milan, 1-0 for Morocco. Milan Howler.
Oh, that's tough.
Dane St. Clair. Should he have started? I thought so anyways, but that is pretty much the worst case scenario.
Man.
Wow.
Woof.
Ha.
Remember when I asked you like 4 seconds ago if John Herdman was under pressure?
Yeah, you think that's gonna? I think Borjan. I think Dane St. Clair and Maxime Crépeau are just taking a look at.
Maxime Crépeau is sat with a full leg brace on somewhere, screaming.
That's tough. That's a tough way to start a match, man.
Fantino's looking on.
Good. Oh, Johnny.
He's laughing. He's like, that wasn't
not
good, was it,
football.
guys?
He's just saying the word development.
What happened here?
Victoria
I get
Howler,
it.
Borjan Howler.
Why didn't you just?
That is a
crank
comedy
that,
of
man?
errors.
Oh my.
Oh, dear Lord.
Just hammer that out. Just a little chip.
That's the thing, where as much as Milan Borjan's shot stopping ability is phenomenal,
Mhm.
that's where, just in terms of the modern game, guys like Dane St. Clair, Maxime Crépeau, I think by the end of next year could already be in the stead.
I think Nations League, Dane starts. I think they start that transition out. Start rotating a little bit. For me, there's no way Milan, unless he wants to do an Aaron McLeod and just stay as the third string, because he's a great person to have around the team.
Yikes.
I think that might be the end of Milan Borjan. John Herdman on the touchline, preaching patience and calm. I think he probably threw up in his mouth a little bit like the rest of the country. That's almost an own goal.
Yeah, just the fact that it was a terrible back pass followed by just poor decision making. I mean, he should have just punt that upfield. I don't know what. I think he was in his own head. He's like, "Do I punt it?" He's like, "No, I see a pass," and then he just ended up doing nothing with it and rolling it into Ziyech.
Yeah. All right, Chad, how are we feeling? Bad defending and bad goalkeeping, says Mike. Yep. Can't argue with that whatsoever. Ryan, facepalm emoji. Also correct. Worst play of the year candidate, says RWTV Retro Winnipeg. I would say maybe, especially considering the eyes of the world are on them. If you're going to send that ball back, just send it to the moon. Woof. Morocco, you should absolutely be dunking on Canada right now. You have absolutely earned that right.
It's frustrating because that first game against Belgium, we were the talk of the town. Everyone was so excited to see what Canada could do. Followed that up with a miserable performance against Croatia, and then a little bit more back down to earth. And everyone's like, okay, well maybe Canada wasn't as good. And then we come up with this air 5 minutes into the match. And no, it's not helping.
No, that was like 3 minutes.
3 minutes in the match, whatever it was.
Remember when Alphonso Davies scored a historic goal for Canada? What if we started the game the opposite way?
Well, I mean, that was a debate. It's like going down or going up early has got its problems because you're now kind of on the defensive. You weren't maybe expecting that lead that early. You kind of sit back a little bit, change the outlook of the game, and Croatia punished you. I don't know if it would have mattered
Guys,
regardless,
this is not good. This is very not good, chat.
Well, the thing is with this lineup, it was good it's good to gum things up, and when you concede a goal in the first 3 minutes, you need to push, so you lose the ability to gum things up. So that's why the buoyant error hurt so much. If it was the other 11 they had from the other day, at least you know they can push and respond. Whereas now you come out to this game looking to fight for a draw, and you've given up a goal like that inside 5 minutes. It kind of kills your game plan.
Junior booked for a FU challenge that he was never going to make. It's 7 minutes in. They should not be this dejected. The overhead makes it look even better.
Yeah, nice little chip, just out of reach. Yeah, I mean, that's tough. That's tough. Morocco top of the group right now, on 7 points. So that would line them up. I mean, I don't know if there's a preference whether it's Germany or Spain. I had a lot of Moroccans.
I think you want to see Germany.
Yeah, I could say they said they don't. And also, I don't know what type of rivalry it is, but like Spain, Morocco right beside each other. I don't know if
much closer.
I think there are some Spanish, like Muniers or someone who comes to mind. I think there's a few like Moroccans who have Spanish backgrounds, but
Gibraltar just has to play. They just have to buffer. Like, guys, relax.
Now, I'm assuming Ziyech is going to take a look at that.
Of course he is.
Well, that's pretty deep. That's pretty deep.
Ziyech is going top end. Milan Borjan might trip over his shoelaces.
Yeah, that's pretty far. Did you see the free kick that Chavez hit yesterday? It's about from that distance. Just pure technique.
Unbelievable call on it too.
All
right. Of course they do go right into the wall. Well done, Wall. I think Stephen Vittoria just concussed himself, so that's also not a good sign. That was straight. That gives me flashbacks to the Wales-England game. That definitely didn't happen 2 days ago. Poor Nico Williams just had no idea where he was. That's the side of the head, which is a little bit better for Vittoria, but.
Was he subbed off?
Wall.
Was he subbed off?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I saw an early substitute.
Absolutely tragic. He's like pleading with the trainers that are like literally doing the concussion test with a flashlight and the finger, and he's like, "No, don't take me off." Connor Roberts is like well and truly on his way into the game, and my heart broke for him.
Yeah, I think I was watching the U.S. game. That was at the same time, obviously, right? Yeah.
I think it was.
Yeah. So I was watching the U.S. game, but didn't have a lot of hope in your Welsh side, Jenkins. I'm sorry about that.
I did. They were playing great until they conceded twice in a 70-second window. Good defending, Fonzie.
Marcus Rashford's having quite the tournament.
Yeah, he is. It drove me crazy too, that U.S. England game the England Wales game where both of the substitutes that Southgate finally made up top scored 1 minute.
I know. Foden and Rashford are the ones that everyone was screaming for. Yeah.
Does anyone else get like jet black hair Draco Malfoy wannabe vibes from Phil Foden, or is that just me? You look at the man and I go, oh.
I don't love Foden's style. I'm not gonna lie, but
can we call Foden's style?
Whatever it is, I don't love it, but you can't deny that he is a baller. And I mean, a lot of angry English fans when he wasn't starting. So I mean, clearly, and there's a debate. I think I can't remember who put it up. If there's a couple big. I don't remember who it was. Might have been Bleacher Report. Someone put up like, who do you start for the knockouts? Like, what do you mean, who do you start? You start the two that just had. Yeah. You put Rashford, you put Foden, you put him beside Kane. That's exactly what you do.
Although to be fair, it would be Gareth Southgate doing Gareth Southgate things. Yeah. Bench them both.
Just put Mount on the wing.
Good to know you guys work, but not today.
Not today. It's not the time.
All right, another set play, basically from the left touchline. Away from Kyle Larin. Great to see Kyle Larin getting involved defensively because I don't think we've had a touch in the attacking half of the pitch.
No, it's been a poor start. But we got Sid saying that Herdman got us to the World Cup. Great job, great coach. But then we had another comment saying that I've lost my love for Herdman with these lineups after the 3 games. I think that's, I don't know, man. I think that's a little harsh. Like I said, I mean, the lineup against Belgium worked. We couldn't take our opportunities. The lineup against Croatia didn't. I know it frustrated a lot of people with Hutch staying on, which is fair, but I mean with Eustaquio going down, and I mean I think Jordan Wilson said, correct me if I'm wrong, was Jordan not talking about like what other options would you preferred? Like was he's kind of
another thing for
Tajon kept that in play.
I mean, that looked out about
Yeah, I guess I-
feet, but
Today's done. Well done. Sorry, no, please go.
I just mean for one thing for John Herdman that I'll say, his players executed his game plan to brilliance in game 1 and looked how good it was.
Yeah.
The second game, just again, I encourage anyone who has frustrations about that game, rewatch it. Like, it's just some of the stuff, it's like, it doesn't matter if he crafted a Carlo Ancelotti, Pep Guardiola game plan when your players don't execute. And even today, like, yeah, they're trailing, but when your goalkeeper and center back make an error like that, how much of it does come down to coaching, right? Like, at a certain point, you can only be beholden to what your players go out and execute. And I think that, like, if you're looking at the Borjan player and be like, oh, that's coaching. Man, I don't know
How dare John Herdman play that ball back to Milan Borjan and not have Milan Borjan clear it? Did you say beholden, by the way?
something along those lines.
Yeah.
Journalism student.
Thank you, by the way, for reminding me that you can go full screen.
Yeah, no, I was like, I mean, it's, to be fair, it is clear when it's not full screen, but
You can also do a multiplex and have both games up.
Oh,
To be
Taylor.
honest.
Taylor's just getting
Taylor.
Yeah, Taylor's going crazy. Taylor's going crazy
Taylor.
right now.
Come on, Tim.
Well, it's like, I don't know
That
how
guy.
much do we care realistically about the
Yeah, I've
Belgian
had
Croatia.
enough of watching the other two. Can you imagine though? Like, I think it's funny that Croatia could be not like how poor as Belgium is. If Belgium wins, Croatia's done.
Yeah.
Like that's quite the story. The Croatians were pretty confident. The Belgians didn't give a crap apparently, and it'd be hilarious if they ended up winning and going through with Morocco.
Honestly, I'm here for Morocco. I'm always here for African teams doing well, and I have a lot of Moroccan friends. So
Nah, Morocco.
I don't mind the two Europeans slugging it out
Yeah,
for who
no.
goes through.
Yeah, I mean they're in a comfortable position now. Does the mindset change now that you're out? Like similar to Canada, I don't know if the nerves get to you a little bit. Canada starts
No.
attacking. You think Morocco's just gonna be calm, cool, and collected?
I mean, if you're Morocco, you need a draw, right? So you have the 1-goal buffer, and if Canada's going to literally give you free goals, why not just sit there and try to?
Yeah, I get worried like with situations like this. The more Canada bodies go forward, the more the pacey wide players from Morocco on a counter are just dangerous.
Oh,
Let's
boy.
start.
I was just about to say, is Alistair Johnson the second best Canadian on the field right now?
Well, we have a reward ceremony coming up. So chat, if
That
you're
is true, chat.
Yeah.
We're going to do so after full time, when Canada likely lose this match by 5-0. We're going to take 10 minutes and we're going to get our frustrations out and then hand out some awards. Is there 10 of them?
there's 10 of them. 10 of them.
So Armin is frantically working behind the scenes to get everything ready for it, and we're going to go through things like best celly, best goal, player of the tournament, all that.
Best
And we'll
style.
have best style. Well,
Style. I mean, Jenkins.
Right
I was gonna
right
put
in.
you in the category,
Right
but
Yeah, we'll see who can win the
yeah.
best suit between us three.
through us three, yeah. I mean,
Let
I don't
the
have.
chat vote.
I just
Yes,
feel like
chat-
the jacket's gonna win it.
Chad, you will be voting as well. Oh, there goes Kyle Aaron. Remember when I said Canada was going to lose by 5-0? What a ball!
Oh, Tajon!
That's
better.
better.
It was better. That's what Larian can do.
Look what happens when we're in the attacking third.
The
Canada.
dynamic duo, Club Bruges.
Well, here's my question. Nike's had a lot of airtime in this country lately. What is it about their shirts in particular where it's like, you know, when you're running and you're being active and your nose thinks it's you've got the flu and it's just disgusting, and like you wipe your face with your shirt, like every Canadian, like right sort of on the sternum has this one shiny bit where it just like, I don't know if it's a material that's not reacting with whatever is
Saliva's coming
being
out.
ejected from Canadian faces, but every time they zoom into a red shirt, you can see in that same spot, it's just shiny, and I want to talk about it.
Well, I'm glad I'm here for you to
Thank
be able
you.
to do that.
you.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's not now. To be honest, the old loogie or the old, I don't know if
Whoa,
you know
whoa.
Jenkins, you're a runner. You not love like the spit that doesn't go far enough and it lands on you. I mean,
Especially when it's like single digits outside. Sorry,
Yeah.
people probably eating breakfast.
no, I'm
Josh.
sorry. Wait, we're
How dare you bring up snot,
No,
Josh?
no.
What's your problem?
Drink my
I'm-
coffee here.
I'm a big runner, and I just from your taking seeing pictures of you there, Jenkins. It seems like you are too. So I felt like you'd understand.
No, I fully understand.
Yeah.
You. That's a
Like-
great show. When it's single digits
Yeah.
outside, anything after 4K, and it's a nightmare to get to the finish line.
It is.
How we doing, chat?
I don't think well.
Chad, if you need to vent, you need a therapy session, we are here for you. For those who are watching us and can't watch the game for whatever reason, it is 1-0 for Morocco.
Penalty Croatia.
16th minute.
Croatia. Yeah, Modric saw it
Okay,
over
fine.
here.
Taylor's like, you should put the multiplex on. We're like, no, Taylor, shut up. And then this happens. So, fine, Taylor.
on,
We'll
Modric.
put on the multiplex.
Ooh, it's against his club teammate too.
Who is it? Is it Modric taking it?
Modric versus Courtois, little Real Madrid thing. Did they have any
That
secrets on
doesn't-
each other?
How do you work? There we go.
Ooh, lovely, Taylor.
Taylor coming in
Good.
clutch. Not
Good
that I'm
shout.
shocked by Taylor coming in clutch, but it's just nice to see. Speaking of nice to see, if I never have to see these Belgian shirts again, I will be a happy. Good Lord, that ref is perspiring. That it honestly looks like the Canadian goalkeeper shirt that's intentionally two-tone, and this referee is making his own referee shirt two-tone. They're going to VAR, by the way.
Are they checking for the penalty, or are they checking to see if it isn't a penalty?
They must be. The multiplex.
It isn't. So usually when it goes to VAR,
It might be offside.
who do you guys
that's
want to win
easily.
between that game? Do you care?
Neither. I want both teams to lose.
Both teams to lose. I mean, I feel like the Belgians were very quiet. Like, you know, it was not like they took shots at Canada, really. They didn't really care about this tournament whatsoever. Croatians, on the other hand, were having a field day.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I'm kind of leaning towards Belgium, to be honest, but I don't really care.
See, I'm so anti-Croatia just based on everything that's happened that I do want Belgium to win. Do you think FIFA has intentionally called the VAR room instead of like box suites, whatever, just because it looks like war room?
I think so. I think that's
We
fair.
can all agree on that. Look at
Yeah.
look at the 4K zoom and the technology.
The glitching is just throwing me off.
That's the multiplex.
Yeah.
It's the multiverse, Josh.
Nope.
And VAR says
No
offside. Dodged a bullet.
No drama.
We can make it smaller.
All right, we got a serious question coming in. Which players here do you think have earned a move to a better European club?
Johnston can't count because
He got his, but I mean, I would have obviously.
now who's asking this chat? Who's asking this question in the chat?
Mig.
Mig's asking this question.
Yeah.
Mig, are we speaking solely on World Cup performance or just who we think?
I think he means World Cup performance.
So whose stock has rise at the World Cup?
Yeah. Stock up, stock down.
Now Conan.
Kone.
I'd say Kamal.
Kamal has done much better. He is the more reliable of the two center
And
backs.
probably Tejan in the attack is
Yeah.
the only one I would say. I would be thrilled if Tejan got a move. I like Club Brugge. He's got the round of 16, but I think if the opportunity comes to the top 5 league, specifically RB Leipzig, 'cause that's just in my head, I would say go for it. I don't know what you guys are thinking, or if it'd be good to finish up this season with Club Brugge playing the Champions League.
I'd say go for the knockouts and
Go for the knockouts?
Have,
Yeah.
Have a pop-off performance in that, and I think by next summer, surely you have a pick of a pretty good list of clubs.
It's true. My thought is just, I
You
mean,
don't want to move too early. That's the one thing. You want to move, and those January moves are risky because for every Eustaquio situation, you have a Larea situation.
Yeah.
And that's another guy who I think has also raised his stock to be.
yeah, that's actually true. Lorray had a good tournament. I mean, he belongs to a club in England. We don't really know what is
Well, that's
gonna,
nice because
gonna
at least either he goes back to Nottingham and maybe they're in the championship next year and he gets his chance, or they get to sell him on to like the club I thought he should have gone to says like the links there between ownership, like Olympiacos. It would
Olympiacos.
be nice to see that work out in the summer. Like he goes to like a smaller, like not the
I don't-
English.
I don't love.
Premier League. Go to the Greek league. Get your feet
Yeah.
up for the Greek Giants.
I would have preferred honestly Belgium or the Netherlands. But yeah, I mean the Greek league, and especially if you're playing for Olympiacos, usually competing for titles, playing in the Champions League. I don't know. I don't really have a landing spot for Kamal. Like when I picture Tejan, I picture the Bundesliga. Like give him any top 6 type of club. Like Gladbach, Wolfsburg, RB Leipzig. I just think he would thrive in playing a little bit more attacking. The fact that he doesn't play in an overly attacking role for Club Brugge, he kind of shifts between wing back and sometimes on a winger. I don't know. It's the reason I'd like to see him move, but I don't know. Where's a good landing spot for Kamal?
Any technical leagues. One thing that's really underrated with Kamal is that his passing is really good. Like his progressive passing metrics were like one of the best, if not the best, in MLS among center backs.
So you're
last
thinking
year.
like La Liga?
I'm thinking any league where he might not have to run as much and play in transition, but just build out of the back a lot. So either like
I'd say the La Liga is probably the most technical league in the world. No?
I'd say either like a Johnston style move where you're going to a big club in a smaller league, or like a league like a Belgium, like where it's like very technical. It's not as much of like a track meet league where it's just a lot of.
What about like a Feyenoord?
Netherlands
Maybe
also great.
Netherlands. Because they take a lot from Spain in the way that they play there, just Ajax, Barca links. But
Josh, do you know where you can watch Feyenoord in Canada?
you can watch it.
You can watch it on One Soccer.
One Soccer, ladies and
We'll
gentlemen.
be rooting for Kamal Miller to find
Everyone to
that'd be
Ajax.
beautiful,
Everyone
actually.
to Ajax. Brett says he agrees that Tejan's stock has risen. Oh, I will give credit where credit is due. TSN did an unbelievable feature on Tejan and losing his dad and his family and moving to Colorado and basically the fight he had to go through with the American and Canadian courts. They let him live with his coaches, his legal guardian. It was just unbelievable how well done it was, and I just thought that credit where credit is due on that feature was really, really well done.
He's been my favorite player to watch his rise. Like when he came in those Olympic qualifiers and he scored those 2 goals, everyone's like, ooh, like Tajon Buchanan, and then all of a sudden he just popped off. He's got everything you want in like a pacey, straightforward 1v1 winger.
100%.
I think his long range finishing sometimes in that first time finish lacks a little bit, but I mean you get him taking on a defender 1v1. He like that Mexico goal for a good example. He can find the back of the net, but I don't know. I like him in a league. Like the reason I just picture him in the Bundesliga is because the Bundesliga is such an attack-minded league. I think he'd have so much fun down the wings there. It's not known for its defending. I don't know. Is there another league that you guys like? If Tajon was going to move, that comes to mind? Because for me, I just feel like the Bundesliga is like the only option. Like,
I think it suits him the best for sure.
I mean, for Tajon, I'd like to see him go to a club. I don't know about a league or a club, but like really, so that he can. The one area of his game that I think he can hammer out, because he has the speed, he has the shot, he has the get to the byline and cross. But I just want to see him work on his passing.
his passing?
Round out his passing. So playing a club where he's forced to play in possession, hug the touch line. You know, be inverted. One thing that he does get a little too eager is that he wants to take on everything that moves, and he's good at it, so you don't blame him. But there are a few times, like for wingers, if you can find that balance between knowing when to play that ball.
Kamal step behind. Morocco's in. Scores 2-0.
That's a great goal from him.
Speaking of not needing to run, Miller, that is an unbelievable finish. And the game plan against Canada, if it wasn't solved before, long balls behind the center backs and just be faster. 2-0 for Morocco halfway through the first half. Yikes.
This isn't going to decrease the pressure on John Herdman.
No.
No.
Especially it's tough too when you get a bad result, but it's even tougher when before the match even starts, they take a look at the starting 11, the decisions made by the coach, and you just don't see really what he was thinking. I don't know. That's tough.
Well, Moroccan fans in the chat, you must be absolutely loving what you're seeing.
3-4-3 does not work. Is what we're getting out of this.
And then here's the thing, like where they are right now. So what, you panic a little bit because they're getting exposed, and then you just lose 2-1. Like that's what a finish on the half volley.
And
Borjan's got to be better there. Sorry.
At your near post.
Sorry, Milan, but you got to be better junior post, mate.
No, so like Yusuf in this series not a fast guy. So the fact that he had a foot lead on both Miller and Victoria and just completely burned both of them is not it.
Yikes.
Those Moroccan shirts, by the way, are absolutely stunning. Boone did a great job with those. And that reaction from Kyle Aaron says it all. John has got a Canada quarter zip on over top of the dress shirt now.
He's trying to get the magic of the ice.
Yeah, he's like, I need my custom-made Nike bomber jacket. That's what we're missing here.
Well, that sucks.
Okay. Well, not great, chat. Not great.
No.
Here's the argument that we will have. 25th minute, by the way. If you were to do this tournament over again with a little bit of foresight, does it make sense to play Alphonso Davies at left back?
I wouldn't say left back, but if you're gonna go 3-4-3, I would have rather shifted that to a 3-5-2. Have Larry David up front, play Davies from a deeper role, but still has the ability to go forward. Have Buchanan on the right. Have that 3-man midfield that all of us were begging for. Could have been Hutch, Eustaquio, and then like a Kone or Osorio, and then your usual Alistair, Victoria, Miller, and like that's how I thought he was gonna go. I didn't think he would go toe to toe having a 2-man midfield like that. And I honestly thought he was going to play Laren and David together. So I think the 3-4-3, doing it for all, he did it for all three, right?
Well,
pretty much. Like it kind of shift, but
the thing that like doesn't
We need 2 packs, by the way, please, sir.
what doesn't make sense about their 3-4-3
Is
just
all
like,
of it?
It's just
is all of it.
It's the both like how aggressive they are in possession and then how they react off the ball. Because if you're gonna play a 3-4-3 against a 4-3-3, you have to be incredibly disciplined, and they've just been nothing but like
That's a bad slide from Oso.
Like the line is sloppy, the
Yep.
midfield is stretched. Details like that you just cannot get wrong.
Like, and I don't say this to attack the center backs because we understand it's a weakness. That's why I find 3-4-3 absolutely mind-boggling where it's aggressive minded. You like that they're playing aggressive and they're playing confident, but they like. I'd say 75% of the goals they've conceded is the exact like the risk you run, and you're like, oops, what are they going to be able to do? Like, they're just not putting Kamal and Vittoria in a position to succeed.
No.
In any way, and like that's been the first goal today doesn't matter. I mean, Belgium's goal, like nice touch, perfect finish, but it feels like that's a similar. They just attack the center backs, and there's no like babysitting for them. So I almost wonder if. I know 4-3-3 seems like a logical step for them when the players are ready to be there, but I just wonder when you're playing teams that will overrun and attack, if you put Alphonso Davies back at left back as much as it's going to piss him off when you're trying to stay in games, and then if you need that goal, then you just sort of let him go.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know, I'm not in the locker room, but just given the fact that, what Davies is obviously done for this program, what he means to this program, and how he wants to be the guy. And when I say that, it's because I'm pretty critical about Davies taking set pieces, corners. I don't like him on them because I don't believe he's very good at them. But
One of the reasons why Junior's on the field, in my opinion.
Yeah, like exactly after that Japan performance. But he's the guy. You see, like the Neymar, like different players for different national teams are the guy. Davies is the guy for us, and I feel like because of that, he wouldn't really want to obviously play that deep, as you said. That's why I'm like a compromise could be a wing back. But at the same time, look at Morocco. I would say their star guy is Hakimi. Where's he playing? He's playing in a 4-3-3 at a right back at his actual position. Although I still think we could argue, I mean, is a left back Davies' actual position? Just, how Bayern play. I mean, it's basically a wing back, even though it's not a back three, and he grew up playing as a winger. So I don't know. That's why the compromise I thought is a wing back, because you allow him to get speed and run at defenders. You allow him to have his defensive responsibilities. And I just feel like the balance of this team screams like a 3-5-2. We've seen Herdman play it a ton of times, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not a coach. I mean, Alex, I don't know. Would you prefer like a 3-5-2, or what if you were John Herdman and you could only pick one formation because he basically went with the 3-4-3? One formation, just for like, which one would you have lined this team up in?
I mean,
each game's different, but you got to pick one.
It depends, like preference-wise. Like myself personally, if I were given the keys to the car, I'm always going to three-man midfield because I'm.
So 3-5, like 3-5-2.
My style is I beat teams through midfield. I'm like. If you're telling me start Alphonso Davies or start a third midfield, like not that this is the case, but if someone tells me you have to start Alphonso Davies or start a third midfielder, I'm starting a third midfielder. Like that's the way I would coach the team, in the sense like that's the way I see the game. So.
But Herdman's played a lot with a three-man midfield. Like he's played a lot. It's not like this is a crazy change. Like he likes his 4-4-2s, he likes his 3-4-3s, but a 3-5-2 has been seen a lot.
Again, that's the thing with the 3-4-3. The 3-4-3 itself, I think it must be said, is not Canada's problem. The problem with Canada is how they use the 3-4-3. Again, you cannot be stretched like this. You cannot like if you're gonna have a two-man midfield, they have to run. Watch Porto. Watch how much ground Stefan Eustaquio and Matheus Uribe cover to make the 4-4-2 work. But, like those guys are everywhere. For Canada, you if you're gonna run a 4-4-2, you have to be. Or a 3-4, they have to be disciplined. Just look at the game now. Look already, right now in possession, K is underneath Osorio, great. But what that means is Osorio is going to have to come back and be even with K when they lose the ball, and that hasn't been happening. And against Croatia, that happened with Hutchinson Eustaquio. Eustaquio kept pushing forward. He wasn't able to come back to support Hutchinson. And I think little details like that are killing Canada, and it's frustrating because that's such such a simple thing to do.
But couldn't you see that coming? Like when Croatia lined up with that midfield, the biggest worry was it getting overrun. And from what we understand, Hutch and Eustaquio are not at full strength.
Sorry, chat.
Did we score? Did they score?
That's a fine. That's another fine for me. I'm gonna go broke by the end of this. I'm trying to give Alex the mic so we can hear this brilliant speak, and I'm just hammering the. Maybe that's a good omen.
Yeah, but what I was saying is like with Croatia lining up the way that they did with the midfield, that was the biggest worry. When Canada lined up with Eustaquio and Hutch is not at full fitness. Eustaquio, from what we understand, is not at full fitness. He's obviously not in this match. He came out at halftime. Like you said, like when you're playing with a two-man midfield, you need to be disciplined. You need to be fit. You had two half-fit players in it. Where did you see this? Like, where did you see this working? Like,
again, this is what makes no sense. Is that why they've been so aggressive on the ball in midfield? Like that's what I don't get. Like, if you have all these attackers on the field and your midfielders are half fit.
against Croatia, why was Stefan Eustaquio constantly running up to where the strikers were? In this game, why is Jonathan Osorio so high up on the field right now? Like, look where he is. Junior Hoylett is below where Jonathan Osorio is.
Yeah, that's where the three-man midfield comes in handy.
Where you have the
they're
extra
staggered.
shield. And that's what's confusing me, is because when Canada ran a double pivot in qualifiers, it's because, again, their midfielders were a lot less aggressive against worse opposition.
And they had a ton of the ball.
Yeah.
Like I found, like when they had that safe two-man midfield, it was maybe Honduras or El Salvador. Like they had the ability to have the ball more. Yeah, I don't know. Like it just there's definitely some question marks. Now, do you think it got in Herdman's mind because it worked so well against Belgium that he thought he could maybe, flip the script and see if it was going to work? But I mean, like I agree with Adam when he said, when I looked at this group and trying to hope to get out, it was a result against Belgium, probably the loss against Croatia, and then do something against Morocco. So I don't know. It's all hindsight. It's all lessons to be learnt for 2026.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, I don't want to fall in the trap of hindsight, because again, we're getting looked at 3 results against 3 good teams, and I think again it's easy to get succumbed into the negativity of seeing not just the results but how frustrating they've been. Because like if you're Canada, what hurts probably most is that you're not like of all the goals they've given up, there's maybe been one where they've been genuinely outclassed by the other team, because all of them have been errors. And I think that's one thing where it's like, and not only errors, like they've been individual errors and less so tactical errors. And that's what I'm trying to find the balance between, okay, where did the tactics go wrong, and where did individual errors within the tactical blueprint go wrong, but then also were those individual errors because of the tactical blueprint, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of the balance to weigh in that whole argument.
We had a question earlier, and
we've had a few good
we
ones.
had a few, but I don't know which one you used. The one I saw earlier was a projection for the back 3 or 4 for 2026, and I don't remember what he put a few in there. I definitely saw Joel Waterman. I'm assuming Atakubi and Larea Johnston will still be there. Is Lucas who do you think's who do you think's, because like when I look at this team right now, 3 players that will be on their way out. Borjan, I mean, I think our keeper is pretty safe, whether it's Kripo or St. Clair. Probably.
By the way, chat, I think we're doing a potential VAR check for a penalty against Canada in the Bucks.
Oh my.
I was hoping that was a sub for a third midfielder, but maybe I'm optimistic.
I thought that it was the fouls the other way around. Okay.
Canada's just getting beat to everything, and it's like frustration fouls at this point. Or the ref's microphone is dead.
Hopefully.
Morocco doing the wave and just having the time of their lives, as they should. Morocco's playing sensationally right now. Arthur Johnston bailing him out, yes, that's been doing a lot of that. Do you guys speak Spanish? No, but everyone else in this building does, and I'm trying to learn.
Speak enough.
I can't.
I can get by.
Whatsoever.
Now that we have a bit of a delay, shout out to the young man dressed as an RCMP officer with full face paint. That's well done. There was something. Why is Morocco's abbreviation MAR? That is their French name, Maroc. So that is why that is done. Although it is interesting to me that there's not many, like Switzerland's one of them that uses like the national language as their abbreviation. But aside from that, like they usually default to English for that. It's curious because I don't think there's another MOR.
I never noticed that. To be honest, though, I mean, good knowledge, Jenkins. I mean, yeah, I just
French I can do,
now.
Spanish I can't do. Somebody made a comment about us thinking this was for Mr. Blue, who's a Bills fan, and I will just leave that. That's just the background knowledge I'm providing you, chat. I love that I think Davies is all that matters. Not true, and Mr. Blue does make a very good point here. Lewandowski is better, and Poland is garbage because the rest of the team is. We need various holes filled. I don't think Poland is garbage. They played garbage yesterday, but that is a fair comparison where they have one person who the world thinks can carry them. I don't think Davies is all that matters. I just think you need him to be a little bit more, especially with how shellacked Canada's getting defensively. That's why I thought you put him at fullback and
Davies runs
let him
into trouble
fail
when he tries to do too much.
Yes, he does. Especially in a game like this, like you want Alphonso Davies on the ball and involved. He's not going to get involved with the way they're playing right now, so let him get involved as a fullback. That's where my head's at. I think halftime, and this is why I don't have the keys to this team, you take 4 people off the field and you go young.
I mean, first of all, if Ismail Kone isn't warming up right now, there's a problem. And honestly, may as well get Samuel Piet in there.
Yeah.
Like, you need to shore up the midfield.
Osorio starting was a mistake, and it's not how he's played. I just think he's a finisher in this team.
you ask him to do too much. And
No, well, I'd say you start him if there's a three-man midfield. That was where the Kone
Right.
Osorio midfield comes into play. That's the big surprise is that they've had Osorio. And again, not only is he playing in a double pivot, he's playing so advanced.
No.
Mark Anthony Kaye is not a number 6, and he's being like that's where I'm like I'm looking at this like I feel bad for Mark Anthony Kaye that he's on his own against this three-man midfield.
and just gives the ball away as you speak.
Yeah. So.
And honestly, like,
Look at this shape right now. Just if you want to look at the shape right now. Canada's playing what? What is this
1, 4.5, 2.3, and 3.7. The other thing too, like, I don't want to turn this into the roast of Stephen Vittoria, but at this point, like, bail him out. Let Joel or even Derek Cornelius go, just somebody, because it's like, how much of a step down is it really?
Yeah, I mean,
In a game that you're getting overpowered.
Who do you think's the long-term replacement for Vittoria? In that, if whether it's a central center like Griffey Yao or Joel Waterman, Lucas McNaughton, like any of them, like short-term, like for Nations League.
Short term, it's short term. I think Steven stays.
Steve stays. Yeah, I mean,
Because
yeah,
that's how
I think
Canada
it's
works.
Joel. I think Joel maybe gets a little.
I think Joel deserves more time.
Even Lucas as well.
Lucas can. I just don't know that he's been exposed enough yet in the environment.
I feel like if it's a back three, McNaughton's like not a. I don't love Waterman in like the central back three. I think he plays a lot better like in a back four or in a back three, but he's on the outside right. And I think we saw that against Bahrain. Like he looked very uncomfortable, and when McNaughton
Scott
came
Kennedy's
in,
a good shout, Meg.
Well, that's what I wonder, like long term as well. Because one thing that has killed Canada in a regard, I mean, since we've known this for 4 years, is that they have good enough center backs. It's just they have the unlucky curse that not many of them are fast. And not that that's a bad thing, but that means that
You have to adjust to
that
that.
means you have to play deeper. And as we're seeing in games like this, where you push up and play a high line, it's a bit of a, if a guy like Yusuf and his series is burning you like the way he did on that second goal, and that's why Scott Kennedy was huge, because he came in and gave them an ability to play. And that's why they're going to need to look at guys like Curry Fayao, just because even a guy like Joel Waterman, phenomenal center back, but he's not a track star either. Like you look at Montreal, what they do is they play deeper because Miller and Waterman and Camacho aren't fast. They're not speedy guys, and that's one thing where that's what Canada did so well during World Cup qualifiers, was to adjust for their lack of speed. But now, for whatever reason, in this Morocco game, they've completely thrown that out the window after doing it against against Croatia and Belgium.
that's why Alistair became such an important player. Like the coverage he provided on the right hand
100%.
side.
Life is great watching from Saskatchewan. Japan more inspiring than this Canadian team for the last 2 games. Well,
Yeah.
I have nothing to add to that. I don't disagree. I think you just feel for them right now. Like, this is just...
It's uninspiring.
They're just getting overwhelmed. by the
This
occasion,
is-
it looks like.
This is like a parent playing road hockey or basketball against their kid, but everything matters in it. So there's no relenting.
It's
not like,
literally the first time in 39 minutes I just saw an actual shape and it looked like a 4-4.
But even
Too. It
then,
looks like Davies is up
for some
front.
reason, Buchanan had wandered into the 6th position, so even then I can't call it an accurate shape.
Buchanan's also been sent the ball twice, and both were over the touchline, so that's not helpful. This is working. Okay, that's better. I like Atakubi bombing it.
Because Davies is clearly playing as a striker
Canada,
right now, right?
give us. Oh, Atakubi!
Hey, we got a goal!
Let's go!
I think, yeah, look at
We're still in it, baby!
they don't
Come
even-
on!
They don't even care. Is that
Woo!
Sam?
Look what happens. Atakubi bombs.
Okay. The
1-2 with
negativity.
Tajon. Everything I said the last 30 minutes, forget about it, Canada.
Yeah.
Canada's here. They're going to win this game by 4-2. Atakubi.
What happened here?
Get off me.
Little-
Own goal.
Little, yeah.
Give it to Sam. We need it for the record books.
I think that's an OG. What do you think?
That's totally an own
Yeah,
goal.
that's
That's
OG.
1,000% an own goal. You know what?
What is it with goalkeepers born in Montreal playing for the country struggling against Canada? Jose Duverger, anyone?
Oh, Haiti.
Shots
Oh,
fired.
well, Canada, we're back in it. Needed that.
Oh, they're
Conversation
on the
has
front
shifted.
foot
Oh,
once
and now they're
again.
attacking. Kyle Lair now for a Canadian corner. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go.
Come on, Hoylet. That's you, man. That's all you. That corner. I mean, like I said, a draw would be thrilled. I mean, this performance right now, I can't believe it's 2-1 now. That is such a shock.
To be
me.
fair,
But yeah, that's,
That's so funny.
It literally shows Canada's strengths and weaknesses right now. World-class talent on the flanks and questionable midfield setup.
and slow center backs.
Hey, set piece is
That's-
another
that
one of their
the-
strengths.
that
They
is
have
the
one right now, and Hoylett is taking it.
Chat. It's time for you to believe. 42nd minute.
Hashtag we can.
Hashtag we can.
If they somehow
I love how it's not we will or we it's hashtag we might.
We may.
We
We
may.
may.
if Canada somehow ends this half
2-2.
tied, I don't know what I'd do. Like,
I would adjust the midfield though. Just
well, I mean, just like what
But-
I'd do, like in terms of like at this point, like
let them go.
we should just go open a bottle of scotch. Is what I'm saying. Like in terms of change, you still do the changes. Again, I just can't believe.
Hoylett, not a bad ball. Punched away. Oh, that's unfortunate for Davies. He could have gone in. Sam Matakubi, the Canadian hero.
Finds Junior. That's where you
Junior
want
out
him.
wide. Got to put that in, Junior.
I love this Canada's second ever World Cup goal is an own goal.
It's an OG. Yeah. Well, I wonder who the journalist might have tried to speak to if that was the first goal. Let's get Bono on.
Yeah, are the journals able to speak to own goal?
To an own goal?
Achievement?
Well, we'll save that question for halftime, Mig.
OG was unavailable for comment. Canada soccer.
Oh.
Yeah, a little touchy situation there.
Oof.
But that would be a nice
So-
halftime talk.
This is not a good half for goalkeepers.
No.
I don't.
Canadian
You can't fully you can't fully put the blame because it was deflected. He reacted, tried to pot away, didn't do it. But this is not. If you're an aspiring goalkeeper, you're not watching this feeling confident.
No. I mean, yeah, the Borean one was super questionable.
That's very
That
polite.
one was a little tricky.
It's very polite, Joshua.
Yeah, I mean, it's just what you don't want to see.
Victoria, the forearm shiver. It's the third time he's elbowed somebody in the face, and also the third time he's taken a really fast-paced header.
I like it.
I'm obsessed with this sequin jacket.
Giving you a run for your money.
Whoever was spouting off against the what was it, the wording, the Michael Jackson red leather jacket, it could be sequins. It might be sequins next time, Chad,
be.
if you're lucky. What's going on in Croatia, Belgium? I think it's still 0-0.
Yeah,
Yeah,
literally,
no,
a goal
no.
could completely change.
So, and this
there.
is the other thing too. Like Morocco has to play a little bit more cautious now.
Yeah, I'm glad that. I mean, we've been playing terrible, but I didn't want to get blown out. You know, like that Croatia result hurt. Even if we don't play well, but we don't get smacked, I feel like the world will take a look. Like, oh, they lost 2-1. You know, like compared to they lost 5-1. Like they lost 4-1, they lost 5-1. This is embarrassing. Like blah,
The
blah,
other
blah.
thing, remember when I was saying change everything? Maybe don't change everything. Change some things.
The midfield.
If this is how Canada wins their first game
Could you imagine?
at a World Cup, my goodness.
Is it because there is a way Morocco couldn't qualify, right? Like if they lose and Belgium win, is that the goal difference? Then
Yeah.
Yes.
that's the way.
If Morocco lose, they're on 4. Belgium goes to 6.
Belgium go to 6, and then Croatia have the goals.
Correct.
So that's interesting. I hope Morocco goes through, but I do want a result. I said, give me a draw, I'll be happy with it.
Hashtag anyone but Croatia.
Apparently, we're getting some good halftime questions. I see in the comments.
There are some good halftime questions.
Alex is twittering, so we gotta give him a minute.
Yeah, no, he'll Twitter. That's fine.
Oh, come
A little
on.
cheeky Kamal.
Come on.
We're not at time, chat.
This game has been.
Painful.
They have been so late on the lower third that shows out of time, all tournament long.
I know. Whoever's on the ground right now has been.
The score bug also had another complete meltdown to start the game. Not TSN's fault, by the way. That's all done out of Qatar. Whose laptop is a Boeing 747?
I think it might be producer.
Might be producer T's. Do we have money in the budget to get producer T a non-jumbo jet as a cooling fan? 5 minutes of added time, chat. Canada can still tie it up. Change the conversation. No early funeral for Les Rouges if they can find an equalizer.
Yeah, I just feel like it'd be funny if we played like this and then we end up getting a result. This is the match we get a result in.
Like for Adam to do the moonwalk at halftime. I don't think I can moonwalk in Blundstones. I think that defeats the purpose, although I like where your head's at.
Yeah, like
mate.
that's a challenge I'd like to see.
Hunrock Rocks go TFC. Life is great. Is Atiba playing? No, Atiba's not playing.
There was a goal though. I feel like that is a pack.
That is a pack.
This is a goal pack.
What's okay?
And there's definitely a shot in there as well.
Also, we gotta go through who were yours by the way. We never did the reveal since
I didn't do the reveal because they were all atrocious.
Chris Richards, Merca,
Should be in Qatar, but
Bella, Madu, Rodrigo, DePaul. If I want to anglicize that really badly,
The bow.
Tunisian, Issa Laidouini. Does I pronounce? Yeah, he has been booling. And Marco Carducci, a blue Marco Carducci. Would you believe that?
Mine were all poo, but I did get one funny one.
Tell me this doesn't look like Marco Carducci.
It does. Brian Ruiz.
Brian Ruiz is Marco Carducci, Costa Rican.
That's the
Marco
only one I think
Carducci.
is worth showing because I thought it was kind of funny.
Draco Malfoy.
Draco Malfoy.
Okay, 3rd minute of out of time chat. Free kick from Morocco. Okay, is that Laren again? And nobody
Oh,
picks up the
Wow.
unmarked finish. Unbelievably abysmal defending.
I'll let N0 score twice.
Like both goals, fine, right? Like fine.
it's offside.
Offside,
It's offside.
referee.
Hey, N0
They
selling.
did not deserve to get let off the hook like that. But hey,
I will take it. Again, this is where the results coming, guys. I'm telling you.
Kyle Laren is playing center back
that's on.
set plays. That is very much on.
unless his arm is somehow off.
No, the arm can't be off because you can't do anything in football with your arm.
There we go, that's off. Well, I mean the shoulder. 'Cause if you see
Yeah.
the Croatia offside.
Was that Davies, the one maybe keeping him? Is he checking? Or are we going?
VAR better be piping up. That's a goal.
No, yeah.
No!
He goes the
Wow!
hook.
Good God. Okay, Canada, there's your lifeline. Can still get your draw, and you better thank VAR. Wonder if it just drew Fisher up there.
That is.
I know that's not allowed. That was a joke, chat. It was a joke, chat. Do I dare have hope at this point, says Ian. Ian, you should always have hope.
The way the game's going, honestly, like the last little bit, everything is kind of going against Canada because they're not playing
Based on evidence? No, Ian, you should not have hope. But we're not going to think about the evidence. Even FIFA has that as 3-1.
Wow.
That's a shocking. Oh boy. Okay. Final 75 seconds.
Wait.
As wasteful as
that
Canada have
Davies?
been in distribution. Yeah, I think Davies is just
Oh,
trying way
man.
too hard again.
All right.
Woo.
Did we talk halftime subs?
We will definitely talk
Yeah, I
halftime
feel like
subs.
that's always a.
So Sophia, they did not count it. That's just FIFA being a little bit
He
behind.
countered it. Did you see? It's a goal.
That was maybe the worst throw-in I've seen in my entire life. Are you kidding me? Did anyone else see that?
No, I was actually looking at the.
Literally, the ball slipped out of his hands and it went 90 degrees straight up in the air. That was not great.
The other games at halftime 0-0.
Replay. Shame him. Shame him. Yeah, Croatia, Belgium 0-0. Barn burner. Croatia, Belgium. Hope you took the under in that game.
Not a good game so far. No.
Dizzy, we are eliminated from the World Cup, but if we win this game, we win the World Cup.
Win
That's no. We win the whole thing.
The whole thing.
That's why Johnny's there today. He brought the trophy with him.
Literally.
Johnston tracking. Victoria runs over. Final seconds.
That's gotta be it.
Woof. Chat. I don't want to be a sensationalist, although it is fun. Is that one of the worst halves of football you've ever seen this team play?
I think so.
In the modern John Herdman era?
Yeah.
I think that counts. Even the Croatia game, like.
Yeah.
This
Again,
one-
the Croatia game was,
They were like playing Inspire, trying to create halftime. By the
Yeah.
way, chat 2-1.
Croatia, they came out strong and then they just kind of ran out of gas, lost discipline, and then
Fell into the trap.
and then had a
basically.
bad 20 minutes. This was just like ugly.
It was uninspiring, is what the way I look. I don't know.
Horrifying.
Like,
Some might say
we've all played sports before. I know it's not the same mindset as a professional athlete, but
Hey, I take beer league lacrosse very seriously.
beer league lacrosse. It's just, I don't know. It to me, it just feels like they're not in it because the game doesn't matter in terms of qualifying. I mean, it matters so a lot because you always want to get a result, but in general, like, this was just sloppy. It was awkward.
Some numbers.
Unorganized.
Some numbers for you, chat. Morocco 46% possession. Canada 41%, 13% in contest. Everyone's favorite stat, in contest. 2-1. I love this. Goals total. Goals conceded. Thank you for that, FIFA. I was really not sure how that worked. 1 assist. Canada's unassisted. 7 attempts at goal from Morocco. 2 of them on target. Canada, no attempts on target, but do have a goal.
You want something funny?
Always.
Because this just sums up Canada's game, I think, really. XG, 0.47 for Canada,
Fantastic.
0.43 for Morocco.
0.43. They scored twice.
That sums it up. It shows the first goal, really, and the second goal.
Canada has not entered the final third once through the middle of the field. That should surprise nobody. 5 times through the left, 8 times through the right. Morocco definitely attacking Alistair Johnston and Stephen Vittoria's side quite heavily. Offers to receive, 0 for everyone. What's offers to receive? Have you ever heard that stat before? I've not.
Get an offer to receive?
I would love an offer to receive.
Potentially of 6 figures.
I was gonna go for 8, but you're the
Yes,
normal one. This is a good one. Receptions between middle and defensive lines, 28 for Canada, 23 for Morocco. Receptions behind the defensive line, 3 for Canada, 4 for Morocco. Canada's only completed 41 line breaks, 3 cautions for Canada, not great. 9 fouls against from Canada, 4 from Morocco. Morocco's been offside 4 times, except for that last one when they weren't, and they should be winning by 3-1. Canada and Morocco have not switched play once. 2 corners to 1, 10 free kicks to 8, 1 own goal.
All right. Substitution time.
Substitution time.
So
Alex, when you're done your analysis, we'd love to have you back.
Coming.
Let's go.
I feel like
I don't know if I should dare to look at my mentions. Maybe I should just for like a bit of a pulse. Let's see.
Angelo, stop calling it an own goal. It was a deflection and goal. No, that was literally an own goal. We just showed you the stats. That's when the defensive team does something that makes them concede against themselves. It's an own goal.
I feel like the one big positive with Atiba this half. I thought Sam looked pretty good.
Yeah, when they could finally use him on the left side for me.
Just
Like
when he's at his
when they played well, and there were moments where I thought they played fairly well on the left side. I thought Sam was a highlight. But like Sam showing us like he did in Hamilton, like he's done several times, even when he's not being flashy, he's effective.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they play without him unless we go back to that conversation earlier where should Alphonso play left back. Alex is going to come in. We'll have some chats.
JD, come on, Piet.
Right. Throw all your questions, concern, anger.
Oh God, this is
Maybe
free
not.
therapy.
Yeah, we'll any questions if you wanna, we'll dive into as much. as
How
we
did
can in 60
VAR
minutes.
not flag that
Well, for what?
offside at the end?
Which
The Morocco goal they called back.
apparently what I'd have to see it again because thing is I said it looked onside on my Twitter. I got blasted by 9 people saying there was a clear obstruction in front of goal on Borjan's shot.
Oh.
Maybe it probably was. I'm not going to say they're wrong. I didn't see that. Maybe we were all looking in the wrong area. So if VAR saw that, fair play. That's what they're there for. And I'm not going to.
The being becoming. This is maybe the most objectively and categorically false thing I've seen today. Canada just doesn't have the culture of soccer. Never will.
I'll doubt that one.
No, not true. Anything else in the chat? In the case, so let's do subs while we wait for comments that are worthy of discussion. Unlike that one, you can only make one. Who are you making?
Only make one. Paul, I'm probably bringing in Piet.
Are you bringing Pierre? Or are you bringing Kone?
Oh no, yeah.
I'm bringing Kone.
Yeah, maybe Kone for K.
At least throw Kone out there and just get some inspiration. Get a third man midfield.
Or
I mean,
who you sacrificing? Hoylett?
no, Hoylett's been one of the bright spots.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of the shape. Because I mean, you're not gonna. I'm assuming you're not taking off Buchanan, Davies.
Honestly,
Laird.
at this point, like,
Take off Davies.
take off Kyle Laird. Like at this point,
Hey,
like,
Kyle Aaron's been our best defensive player on set pieces.
It's like Kyle Larin is. I'd have to check how many touches he has, but it's one of those where it's like it doesn't matter that you have a great finisher like Kyle Larin on the pitch if he's just been running around in circles, doing great work off the ball. But again, it's what's a good striker if he never gets the ball. So I honestly sacrifice him, go 3 in the midfield, run a front 3 of Hoylett, Davies, and Buchanan as outrageous as it is. If you're making just one sub,
Just one exec.
if I'm handcuffed, because I think ideally, if I was to make a bare minimum, it would be a 6 and Kone.
I don't think he's gonna go into a midfield 3. I feel like we could see like a K for Kone and then probably a Larin for David, same shape. Would be my guess, like what Herdman would do. But yeah, I don't know. I'd like to see that like a 3-5-2.
At
Find a
what
way.
point does Jonathan David come into the game? Assuming he's good to go.
Maybe he
Halftime?
goes in for Kyle Larin.
I think he I would say like the obvious substitutions is David for Larin, Kone for K. Like that I could see him actually doing. I could see a double, or I could see him just sticking with what he got and then like the 60-minute mark do it. But that was what my gut's telling me. I doubt he's gonna throw in Piet. I don't know what Richie's gonna come in. I don't know.
I don't know how Larea does anything productive. At least now.
He doesn't
Now.
change
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Because Canada's, again, what's been surprising is I think the XG almost reflects in a way is that when Canada gets the ball past Morocco's initial wave of midfield pressure, they've looked quite dangerous on the wings. Like they've actually had a few good crosses. One of them ended up being the own goal. They've had a good few looks. It's just they cannot play through the middle. And again, it's the question of, well, you have Buchanan, Davies, Hoylett, Larin on the pitch, but the problem is you're just not getting them the ball enough. So I think ultimately the crux is you need players who can progress the ball in midfield. And hey, maybe if you're gonna get a guy on the at defense, I just don't think Larea, unless you're bringing him on to progress the ball. But I think Alistair Johnson's always going to be good in that area.
I feel like in a lot of this, Alistair's had to babysit Steve Vittoria in some ways, and you're almost not letting him progress the ball because he has to stay so far back.
Do you go wild and throw Joe Waterman?
Yeah,
in for
well,
Steve
I
Vittoria?
would. If you gave me the keys, Miller and Vittoria are both on the bench. What the hell?
Throw Cornelius? Yeah, Cornelius has been throwing a
What the hell?
tough draw these past few years. Remember when he was Canada's best center back?
Yeah, I was gonna bring this point up earlier, which is funny. I feel like he's got an issue playing 2 lefties. You know, like pitcher back 3. See,
Yeah,
Alistair's on
yep,
one, Miller's
that's a
on the
very
other.
good point.
I don't think he ever. I don't like Kennedy or Cornelius. You could potentially start over Vittoria, but I've never seen him do it.
Well, what I don't get though is which frustrates me. I hate fullbacks that are on the wrong foot. That's why Richie Larea over Sam Adekugbe made no sense. If I watched it back, every touch Richie Larea took was into negative or into middle, which is fine. If you're going to play inverted, you have to play the Mazraoui role where you're more reduced and you're cutting in to progress. But then on the center back, it makes no sense. You're in the middle of the field and you're able to more open up the field and pivot. He's adverse to playing left-footed center backs out of position.
Scott Kenny's good at playing out of the backs, which is why and so is Vittoria, which is why I always felt like that would have been a natural replacement. He's way faster than Vittoria as well, but it just doesn't seem like Herdman likes that option.
And Cornelius is good at playing in the middle of the back 3.
He is.
He's good in the air. He's quick. His ball distribution in Greece has improved incrementally.
The profiles that I'd expect to maybe take over from Vittoria are the 2 lefties, and I've never seen them once, and correct me if I'm wrong, I've never seen them once playing a back 3 for Canada.
Well, they were supposed to against Uruguay, but then mysteriously Kennedy got pulled out that one time, remember? It was supposed to be Kennedy Miller in the back 3 with Johnston, and then Vittoria
but
came back in.
Was that was that just a Twitter mess up, like when Canada Soccer created that? I don't know, maybe.
No, I like my job too much to comment on that. Some great things in the chat. This is great analysis, but then I'm just being distracted by funny things. Rosenkrantz. Rosen, first name, last name Krantz. Hilarious. U.S. fans will be insufferable for the next 4 years, being the only country from CONCACAF to get through pending Costa Rica's loss today. Are you mentally prepared for that? 4 years?
No, I was.
No.
I've seen a lot of take. You know what I'm going to say about the U.S.? Because I follow a lot of CONCACAF. I admire them. They're the most talented team in the region by far. Yeah. I think the U.S. in the next 3 World Cup cycles are going to make a semifinal. So I think if anything, they underperformed in World Cup qualifying, and we're seeing a little closer to their level. So I think credit to them. They have a population of 300 million. They have
330.
Are they the 3rd or 4th largest country in the world population?
Well,
3rd?
One of the largest. They're exporting.
I think they're the 3rd largest country in the world.
Exporting
Soccer players like for fun.
Yeah.
They've got a domestic league with 27 top flight teams or whatever it is now. 'Cause you cut out
That's
the
getting
Canadian-
better.
They get in the Canadian teams. Like if I'm the state, like the states, like
They're in such a healthy
good.
position.
Like if you're Canada, you're a 38 million person country. You founded your domestic league 4 years ago on the men's side. You know, a lot of these players, like 5 years ago, you had like a handful of players playing in Europe that were of caliber for the national team. Like
100%.
Canada, in terms of where they are with the U.S., the fact that they're even competing with the U.S. over the last few years is
Yeah, I mean,
Bruce,
yeah.
can you
Punching
fact check
above their
that for
weight.
me?
Which
USA is the third largest country in the world by population.
behind China and
India. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a billion people between you and India.
and I think it's also funny taking a look at like the Canadian national team and how much we value our MLS players
Yeah.
because they play such a crucial role. And when you see an MLS player start for the U.S., they're why are they starting? Like
Yeah.
we want the European players to start, which is
Well,
fair.
and,
but
and to be fair, that's the same with the American women's national team too. I think there's only one player who's not NWSL based. Is it? It's not. No, not Haran. Might be her. No, I think.
Wait, what was the question?
yeah,
Who's the only from? I'm thinking of the W Championship. Who's the only American women's national team player who's not NWSL based? Because she's on loan.
Morocco. Oh, well, what about? I can't pronounce her name, but
I thought you went to Lyon. No,
Leon, the striker,
Yeah.
Katarina.
Macario.
Yeah.
Macario, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a fair comment how it's just a different conversation where it's almost inferiority in some way. Here, we're like, oh, MLS, that can't be the way forward, and then the Americans is heavily influenced, and they play cohesively. What else is going in the chat? Halftime, by the way, chat. We're not just bantering for no particular reason. It is halftime. Canada should be down by 3-1, in my opinion, but I haven't gone through Twitter yet to see what Alex has seen. Any comments, questions in the chat? Get them in while we have Alex on the bench. Shout out.
Well, I know we've had a few CPL questions.
Shout out to.
We'll save those for later. We want to dive into those.
Yeah, there's plenty of CPL time. I will say, critical parents watching the show. Shout out, Dad. You are 10 seconds ahead of the game, so Mom turned your sound down. Sorry, guys. Sorry to disappoint.
Surprised that we're ahead. With the YouTube,
The number of population does not matter a lot. What matters is the number of passionate people in the country. I don't think there's
Well,
anything
population
inherently
means
wrong with
nothing.
that.
Croatia
No.
is 4 million, but again,
China,
you're always
India.
Yeah, it means nothing. It's just inherently you're always going to have an advantage, especially if you invest in soccer.
yeah, which is the U.S. has done a ton of, and they're getting the rewards. They can build probably 2 best 11s with all European-based players, which is
Literally in Soccernomics, it was said that like over the next 40, 50 years as teams catch up, because we have to remember the U.S., for example, they didn't have a domestic league till 25 years ago,
Right.
so they're inherently 80 years behind Europe. So the fact they're even like already where they are is like, again, statistically and nominally, it's a miracle. They're punching above their weight in that regard, just because they were so behind.
Tracky halftime is 16 minutes. Please continue. Sorry.
So India and China, for example, one thing that's if India and India has been behind too because they didn't create their Super League till not long ago, and they've been building in that regard like teams.
well, the Chinese Super League put a ton of money into theirs, and
They've
it
done a lot better. China made it to the
Well-
final round for the first time in a
Well,
while.
and one of the reasons why they didn't progress is like the lockdown rules in China right
Yeah.
now. Like I do CSL commentary all the time. Like they still don't have fans in the stands. Still.
Yeah.
So they were playing their Asian qualifiers like on neutral sites. Like it was all disjointed. A lot of them weren't allowed to leave because when they came back, the quarantine rules were unbelievable. So this
Yep.
was kind of a wash for them this
they
year.
also
but-
nationalized.
Yes,
a lot
they
of,
did.
A lot of players, like a lot of Brazilian players, because they would bring them over. And
Every time I do Chinese Super League commentary, and I only do like 8 of the 18 teams on a regular basis, there's at least 3 Brazilians that start. It's incredible.
yeah.
You got the legend Wu Lei playing in the
Wu Lei.
Liga.
Yeah.
China, I'd say a lot of these countries are kind of fascinating, especially they're investing. Like India, I feel like could be a sleeper just if their Super League really pops off. Like it's going to be one where they're so
Shout out Ian
behind
Hume.
that
Ian Hume, yeah.
it's going to take a couple decades. But again, like the U.S. showed again, like the fact that we have to remember the U.S. What's fascinating is in 1990 they broke a 40-year World Cup drought. Like they hadn't been in the World Cup in 40 years. So similar to where Canada is now, they just created a domestic league, and then 30 years later they're consistently making World Cups. They're doing well.
Now with the 48 team World Cup, I mean, there's a better chance that we'll see like an India, China be able to make that. And yeah, it's an interesting debate. Didn't know Jenkins called Chinese Super League matches, which is
Cool, everything.
No
Thank you,
changes
Producer
at
T.
half?
No changes at halftime. The last pack we had open from the first half, England team photo. Kiefer Moore, whom I already have, but
Moore.
also the love of my life.
That's
Mexico team
changes
photo.
at half. That's very bold.
Damago Vida
Picture the game
and
plan,
Andreas
by the way.
Skov Olsen. Is it on? It is. Fantastic. Good shout.
Second half underway.
All right.
No
let's-
changes. The old wing it.
Okay, chat, here we go. This is our World Cup final. Everything matters and nothing matters all at once.
Give me a draw.
Roll call, chat. Where are we watching from? We'll start Mississauga. A lot of Moroccans in the chat. Fair play. You're entitled to come here and boast about how well your team played because they did play very, very well. We saw we had a Saskatchewan earlier. We had a Burnaby, British Columbia earlier. Shout out Trenton, Ontario, if my parents are indeed watching, despite it being muted. And we'll let that load a little bit. I'm going to take this opportunity to regret all of my decisions and make a coffee because halftime went so much faster than I thought. So Josh is going to maybe juggle. He might attempt to learn Arabic.
Very fun.
Okay. Azin Khan is in Toronto. Okay, I'll be back.
Okay.
Before I miss everything. If I hear that goal light go off and I come back and they didn't score, I will never forgive you.
All right. Chat.
Sorry, Alex, I'm skinny, but I'm not that skinny.
Chat.
No worries.
All right. I don't know if Saudi can beat Argentina. We can't be too sure. This World Cup is filled with twists and turns. Haven't expected like a 7-0 win for Spain over Costa Rica. Yeah, I mean, like I said, this is an opportunity for Canada to make history. If we even get a draw, we somehow are still in this match, which I find crazy considering the performance that we put up. But I don't know. I am pretty shocked. So it looks like Canada's playing in a 4-4-2. If Alex, if you think I'm saying anything wrong, jump in. But to me, it looks like it switched from that 3-4-3 to a 4-4-2. Johnston at right back, Victoria Miller, the two center backs, Atiba left back. Who's on the right?
Alistair Johnston.
Or like right mid, is it Hoylett?
It's kind of been shifting.
Mid shifting. So it kind of looks like, Hoylett's out on the right. Then you got Kay Azori's your two midfields, your two center mid, whatever you want to call them. Buchanan's out on the left mid, and then Davies and Laren are the two strikers. So a little switch in shape. I don't know how much I love Davies playing as a striker. I'm not a big fan of it. Alex, I don't know if...
I mean, I don't mind it against games where the field's stretched out. I mean, Morocco hasn't shown that they've had much reason to stretch their center backs out. So again, I don't think this is the game. I personally just put Davies on his natural left side. I don't know why him and and Buchanan have been so inverted. It feels like a bit like it's nullifying their best abilities, which is to beat a defender wide and then whip in an early ball. So yeah, I don't know. Personally, if I would just on this alone, I'd put Hoylett up front underneath Laren and then get Davies and Buchanan out wide just to on their natural side.
I've been banging that drum for so long. It's I don't know. I don't know. Playing even as a cam will allow Davies to get more like touches on the ball because just naturally you do. I still don't think that's near his best position. He's at his best when he's wide, when he runs at defenders, when he uses his speed, his crossing ability. This is where he plays, is what he does. And when I feel like when you put him even as a 10, he's just not a cam for me. He doesn't play at his best. But when you put him as a striker, you've seen what games can be like for Jonathan David when he's not getting distribution. Like, he is by himself. I'm so surprised that they've gone with Davies there. When Hoylett I think would have made more sense because we've seen him play in that two striker system before for Canada. But I don't know.
This is getting Morocco's just running through Canada's midfield like it's I don't know.
That it's invisible.
Shit.
It's not a shocker when you look at the two central midfielders that are there. But I mean, the one thing is on the break. This is where they should be dangerous.
How wide? They're just they're causing problems.
Atakubi, Amrabat.
He's a machine.
He is a machine. He's had a really good tournament so far. What were Canada's subs? Were there any? There were no substitutions. We're playing in a 4-4-2 system right now, no substitutions, which means the midfield two is still Azorio and Kay. It's been I don't know so far, Alex. I've seen a clear shape now. It's a 4-4. It's a 4-4-2. The first half it took 39 minutes for me to even guess what it could potentially be.
I mean, it was a 4-4-2 in the first half for a lot of it, so it's not anything new. It's just now it's a little more.
It was a messy 4-4-2.
Yeah,
It was a messy 4-4-2.
I bet you money that John Herdman was probably just spanking the wall, going, shape, keep your shape. And obviously they've listened to that in some extent, but now they're still.
I mean, it's 2-1, and as the game, progresses a little bit, I mean, it kind of seems like Morocco could sit a little bit deeper, but you never know. Could potentially open some things up for Canada as Davies goes in the middle right now, dropping off a little bit, almost making it look like a 4-2-3-1. Don't tease me. Well, I mean, if you're gonna play in a 4-2-3-1, you'd have to put Azorio and K as
Ismael Kone.
Yeah.
I beg.
Yeah, that's what I would like to see. Is Kone come on? I'd like to see David get another shot. Just why not?
I'm shocked by no changes.
Yeah, no changes is bold.
I'm not crazy shocked just given how Herdman's been with his substitutions this tournament, but
It's the time on the match. We are in the 51st minute. 6 minutes in.
at least in these first 6 minutes, I like the fact that now there's a bit of an identity to this team. I mean, they're still a little sloppy and whatnot, but there's a bit of a game plan. I just don't like the personnel in that shape. I don't like Davies up front. I don't like the two midfielders. It's going to be a stretched game, but it should be entertaining.
Just like to see them have a bit more control in the second half. I feel like I'm not asking for much.
I just don't get how they were so frenetic when you have nothing to play for. Like Canada looked like the team that was playing for their spot in the knockout stage. Not like in terms of how they were playing, of course, but in terms of like urgency, but not urgency like misplaced urgency.
Atiba Hutchinson warming up gives me anxiety.
I would like to say Atiba come on for like the last 10 minutes.
I mean, to be fair, he's a calming presence, and that wouldn't hurt Canada. Like, just look at this passing. It looks like they've got firecrackers on their ass that are going to go off if they don't pass it within 2 seconds.
And they're making the
There
wrong
might
pass
be a
every
lot of
time, pretty
firecrackers
much.
in the change room, to be fair.
Atiba is good in the midfield doing that, but I just looking at how he was gassed out. I mean, wouldn't he be just more useful like for that 60-minute mark? And maybe that's what he's doing.
Throwing him in a 3-man midfield, but Atiba's more than fine. What killed him against Croatia is that he was just having to run and run and run and.
Oh,
Davies!
Alphonso, you're better than that,
He's got a
mate.
track back there too.
Okay, Tejan.
Oh, the ball popped.
The ball has
Somehow
exploded.
the second time I've seen that this World Cup.
The ball has exploded, referee. For anyone who had deflated balls on your bingo card before the game,
Croatia's not surprised to see Canada deflated balls.
oh goodness. The other positive about the teams obviously changing sides of the pitch is we get to see more of Atiba right in our face, who has been brilliant.
I can't believe. I don't know if I gave him a
Oh,
kiss.
Tejan. Oh, Tejan, lovely. Oh, Tejan, lovely.
What's hilarious?
I don't know about that body check at the end, but everything else about that was fine.
I may have given Atiba the kiss or death or something because I said on a podcast before the tournament that I saw Atiba being a 270-minute man this tournament. So I don't know if John was just trying to spite me.
Probably. If there's anything John Herdman loves to do, it is spite Alex Gange-Ruzik. The jumbo jet is so relaxing. I was making fun of it in the first half, but now I'm gonna miss it when it goes away. How much time left? A 54th minute, chat. Plenty of time.
Both too much and not enough. Not enough because it's sad the World Cup's over, but
The World Cup is over after today. We're just gonna cancel it. That's not true because my Socceroos are gonna win it all.
Senegal is going to beat England.
I hope so.
If it is, you won't be hearing from me on Monday. Not showing up to any meetings.
Well, we asked for control, and so far,
They're getting it.
way more of it.
See, look how much better it is for just tempo and confidence. Just string together a few passes and not look like you're playing 1,000 a mile, just helter-skelter, rock and roll
Helter-skelter.
soccer.
Shout out Helter Skelter. Oh, Davies, that's a caution. I love when players know that they are so clearly in the wrong that they don't argue at all. There's three different yellow cards in that, but we don't have to give it even once.
John
Oh, Johnny Infantino has gone to the Croatia-Belgium game. Maybe he was the problem all along.
Oh, he's trying to set the record for most people attended the World Cup. He saw all those kids trying to break it. He said,
How many horses and police cars do you think were in that escort to get him?
I'd say like 40, maybe
In
even throw in,
minimum
like
40?
5 camels.
Yeah.
Just for good measure.
That is still one of my favorite clips of the World Cup is the Mexican fans with their inflatable horses. That's one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
Okay, see, if we want to talk about Canada and just being like a top level team, you have to get a shot on target this set piece.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're playing awful, you need to be capitalizing on your set pieces. So if they can get anything off of the set piece, I think that would actually be a very good sign and maybe what they need.
Chat, I don't want to alarm you, but Morocco's playing panicked. Boufal just had like a full-on rugby tackle. Who do you think is going to win the Belgium-Croatia game? Belgium, hopefully.
Did you miss anything?
More Canadian control. Alphonso Davies had another glorious moment. Here's his set play to Kyle Aaron.
That's a good ball.
That's one of the best sends we've seen from him.
Funny
Yeah.
thing is there
Damn.
is instead of putting his boot through it like he does every set
Mm.
piece, there was a little more suave and
That was well placed.
Yeah.
Does Jonathan David finish that? People are asking the question.
I don't. I honestly, I would prefer Laren in that situation than David, but
I'm just trying to stir the pot.
no. Thought that was a question. Yeah, no, that was a good ball. I'm very critical on Alfonso's set pieces, but that was a good delivery. That could have easily ended up in the back of the net. Pardon? Oh, that was Hoylet?
Yeah. Was
Took
it?
the ball? No, it was a
Oh,
lefty.
Davies.
It was a lefty.
it was Davies who crossed.
Yeah.
It was standing over it.
Producer T just making sure we're awake. That's
Yeah.
okay.
You guys awake?
The coffee definitely worked for me and my sleep-deprived human.
In my sleep-deprived human, says Alex.
Sleep-deprived form.
And once the game's over,
Morocco or shambles, chat.
Well,
Shambles, Morocco.
Canada's given a run for his money, but looking a lot more organized.
Johnston, good play.
ball.
Oh, this is better. This is first half Belgium, Canada.
Hoylet.
That's not bad.
Ooh, good opportunity.
And
Moroccans are getting a little.
Has Davies tweaked something, or is he just upset? Oh, Mark Anthony K throwing the body.
I heard what you were saying about us, Adam and Josh.
Like, oh, really?
Is that no? It's not a corner.
How do I watch the game? You pay for it. Support television broadcasting.
Support our industry.
Support our industry. Yeah, but this is better. I don't know. Morocco sitting back a little bit, opening this up.
Oh, that was sassy from Croatia. Their wide players are so talented. Their team is talented.
I seriously would laugh though if Belgium find a way to win it. It's still obviously
'Kay.
0-0.
Hutch is coming at the next stoppage.
Apparently, so is Kone according to producer T as well.
Producer T.
Keeping his eyes on the ground. Oh, JD.
So Laren,
Laren out.
Osorio, and
Surely they go
K?
3 in the midfield though if they're bringing on both Hutch and Kone. No way they're just completely.
I don't know,
swapping
man.
I feel like
The way that-
swapping their midfield when they're actually
Things are going well.
Yeah.
What if?
the way that they're going, no way. I'm putting money on those three. Jenkins, who do you think? You got your three coming off.
Surely you keep one of the midfield in. Like, surely you keep Ozo in.
I can see them leaving Osorio for sure. K, I think, is obviously coming off. Laren.
Kay Laren are done. It's question is it
Do you do
Hoylet?
Hoylet and then
that's-
push Davies?
Because I don't think Buchanan and Davies are coming off. So it's either Hoylet or it's Ozo.
More than likely,
And Hoylet just caught kicked in the head, so maybe that decision has been made for Herdman.
it's Hoylet. But again, just because of how Herdman's been, I'm just gonna keep mine as Osorio. Why not? Shake it up. Just see the straight swaps for 3 different positions.
That looked a sore one for Junior.
Let's see, he got kicked in the head, so Sofiane is a bit of
Little
a
bulldog.
menace.
Brawler.
Was it?
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, that'll do it.
yeah.
Why is Croatia having an absolute meltdown right now? So 14 out for 13.
so K's off.
So guys, is this the last cap?
Well, Mark Anthony, I'm glad you got an hour.
No, Atiba Hutchinson's gonna.
No, it's not his last cap.
No, not his last cap.
Not his last cap.
You guys are wild. You got crazy. Atakubi.
There is a better chance of Scott Arfield coming back
Hashtag free.
Scott Arfield coming back.
than Atiba retiring after this game.
Oh, Belgium hit the post. Is it Lukaku?
Lukaku being an absolute
Oh, Croatia getting
demon.
nervy.
He is so good.
Oh, Atakubi's staying on, so they just straight up got that wrong.
Somebody's royally screwed up. Here is Ishmael.
Unless Ismail's coming on for.
Junior, you've been taken out of the game. You've been kicked in the head.
Wait, so Laren and Kay are off. We know that.
Yeah.
For sure, right?
So it's who's that last guy? We expected those
So
two.
they showed Atakubi on the board, then the TV cut to Hoyla, and then now there's just this.
It's Azorio. I'm telling you.
And Junior's not
Telling you, those
moving.
straight swaps that Herdman likes to do.
Okay, so Junior's staying. Morocco is being told, you just kicked Junior Hoylett in the face. You should give the ball back.
Lukaku.
Lukaku could have a hat trick here.
Oh.
We see Kone, we see Hutch,
You see Azorio?
we see Osorio.
Oh damn.
So Tejan. No, Tejan's there. Also,
Sam, they did take
Atakubi
Sam.
off.
That's wild.
Look at this miss from
What is
Lukaku.
Sam Atakubi?
Oh.
Again, John's just trying to spite you.
Oh, it was out.
And working great for you.
All right. So with the switch, what is it now? So Borean's obviously in net right.
Bold, Josh. I think you're probably
you gotta
right
make
on
sure,
that
you
one,
gotta make
buddy.
sure, you never know. You never know.
Chat, in case you didn't realize,
Gotta-
Milan is staying
Yeah,
in there.
Milan is still there. So wing back, right wing back would be
Junior.
Well, right now it's
Junior?
It looks 4-3-3. We've got from right to left Johnston, Vittoria, Miller, Buchanan, a midfield three of Kone, Hutchinson, Osorio, and then a front three of Davies, David, and Hoylett.
put Stage on that wing back.
I don't know why you don't put Davies there.
I gotta say, but no, he's a striker for Canada. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
That is
Mm-hmm.
that is interesting. Could it not also go into like Hoylett at like a 3? It could be a 3-5-2,
I mean,
right?
this looks like a 4-2-3. This is the first time in months I've seen a 3 midfielders like standing in 3 midfield positions. Like not even Osorio playing on the left or anything weird. Like this looks like a 3.
Mm-hmm. Morocco best team in the group? Question, or that's an exclamation mark. I still think Croatia has them. I think Morocco's the second best team in the group.
I mean, Lukaku should have just scored 2. And,
Yeah, you should have.
I mean,
If Croatia goes home again, that
it'd be hilarious.
Canada somehow gets battered by the one team that goes out with them.
I think it's crazy the fact that they could still go out.
Well, that'd be so Canada. Like get tough 1-goal losses against the 2 teams that go through, get battered by the team that goes out.
I think that'd be pretty cruel on Croatia, but I mean, it's 0-0. Belgium are gonna have to start pushing for it. They got the attacking talent to do something. But yeah, I mean, I was looking at it like a 3-5-2. So
Oh, Tejan, this is pretty.
Playing now, that's the thing. Like
JD,
That was well done, Tejan.
it's not gonna help the JD.
No, he's had a quiet World Cup.
Look at it. Switch the ball.
How many tons of hair product do you think are currently in Qatar?
Look at Ismail Kone. He's got it. What is it? Hard to describe.
Everything. Everything
Pizzazz
all
is
at
about the
once.
sauce.
the sauce.
What's the possession in the second half? I feel like
It's been definitely ours. But,
we're definitely.
but yeah,
Don't sleep on in contest.
but yeah, Alex, I feel like it could also maybe in possession turn to this a little bit, but like
No, look at Johnston's position. It's definitely a 4. I've
Yeah?
never seen Johnston that high in a 4 for Canada. I think they're.
Yeah, Canada's got
using
more
a team
possession
as
now.
a shield. But no, it's genuinely a 3, and they look miles better. Who would have thought?
who would have thought? Been pleading for this forever. Yeah, because Hutch is wherever he is, he sits back so deep as well. Probably a little coverage there. Another substitution. Buffal coming off.
Amal is in. This fourth official's worked a lot of games.
Yeah.
I've seen her everywhere. Buffal and Sabiri make way, a double in the 65th minute. I don't know. Abdullah? Yeah, that's right, Ian. 53-47% possession.
Oh, Richie's coming on too.
Richie Larea, another move that I don't know that I understand.
So Hoylett
Has to be.
Has to be
They
Hoylett.
were probably worried about his head.
after the. Nope.
No, it's
No, we're back to
Oso.
the two-man midfield. Who would have thought?
Rate me when I'm typing out the
Who would've
thought?
John.
Trying to spite me.
John, what are we doing?
Unless
John?
Richie's going in the midfield, which we've seen before, but once. I wasn't a big fan of that.
I guess Hoylett in midfield. Actually, I'll take that. I'll take Hoylett because him and Ozo are similar. So if it's Hoylett in the midfield,
4-2-3.
I'll reverse my panic for now.
Is that a 4-2-3? Yeah, Richie's at left back, so 4-2. No.
No,
Hoylett
Hoylett's
is.
on the left.
What is this shit?
Yeah.
What is going on, John?
I'm glad we have 3 men here trying to figure it out, though.
We got our best men on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we literally.
What is John Herdman playing?
Oh, look at Ismail Kone, man. Just look.
Norwich City's coming calling.
How do you see this and not start this man in this game?
Because you like Mark Anthony Kay's flavor of ice cream better.
That's a
Oh,
good
that's a
run.
fantastic ball. Davies cut back.
Oh, we got to dive there, Davies. Come on.
There is a noticeably more silent Moroccan contingent in the chat right now.
Getting a little nervous, but they only need a draw. But right now they're sitting top of the group, which is interesting.
We are so proud, says that Canadian supporter. And was that off? It certainly was.
It's better from Canada though. It took them a while. At least they're making the last 30 or so
I
minutes
mean,
pretty entertaining.
they took half the tournament off,
They
but
did.
now they're back.
They did. And don't forget, everyone. After the match is over, we do have our Canadian men's national
That's
team
right.
World Cup awards.
Which you will vote on as well,
Yeah.
chat.
You guys will have all the votes, 10 categories. We will all be in a suit and tie, I think, or a beautiful leather jacket.
Oh, we might go suit and tie.
Michael's gonna. I mean, I wouldn't be against the jacket. The chat loved it.
Milan Borjan, that might be the first time he's touched the ball this
I was
half.
just supposed to say that. I was gonna say that. I was gonna say he's just been pretty bored so far, but. Ooh.
I think after the first half, he'll take boring.
Yeah.
0-0 Croatia, Belgium, 69th minute. 68th minute here. Canada 1, Morocco 2.
Come on, Canada, find the equalizer, and come on, Belgium.
Yeah.
That's where the collective is going today. Ishmael Kone.
Like there's no press from Morocco right now at
No,
all.
they're sitting back.
Davies for Buchanan and another offside against the Canadians. Tajon's a little anxious, ready to go. Saying please stay outside.
Where's that offside? Was it? I didn't even see where the ball went.
Mike asked the Moroccan keeper is Canadian. Yes, he is. Quebecois. Where does he play?
Sevilla.
Sevilla.
He won the top goalkeeping award last year.
Oh, wow.
Who?
Bono, right?
Wait, what did you say? League?
He plays for Sevilla, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I know he does.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
does.
plays
No,
for
I
Sevilla.
just- I heard
Like, hang on, why am I
heard-
doubting
thought you
myself? I know the
said
answer to this.
Serie A, and I'm
No.
like,
No. So he plays for Sevilla.
Yeah.
But he won an award last year.
Yeah, no, he's been fantastic. For,
Sevilla has been atrocious this year, though.
yeah.
Like, I think they're sitting in a relegation zone, or not, at least not damn close. Well done to the fans for sticking with it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Voyagers are, I mean, it's an opportunity to watch your national team play at a World Cup, whether it means something. It always means something, you play for pride, you play
100%.
to try and make history and hopefully get a result, but we can also play spoilers, which,
They are quick on the counter, Morocco.
Rapid.
Ziyech is not where you want to
Driving
see
to the
him.
middle. 3 red shirts
Ooh.
converge.
No foul. Ziyech is
The
pissed.
referee wants nothing to do with the appeal.
He's like, I didn't come out of retirement for this.
Keeping an eye on the Belgium and Croatia match as well, for anyone in the chat who's wondering. And honestly, if I was gonna guess a goal, just from what I'm seeing from the split screen here, I would say Canada's
Tejan.
more likely.
Get off of me, says Tajon Buchanan. Let's do something now.
Matt, suspended for the. Oh, if he gets a yellow, he's suspended for the round of 16.
That would be harsh. That would completely change the Moroccan midfield.
Honestly, like, the thing is, if you're Morocco, you need him right now because he's been great again. But man, like you have to be terrified every time he goes into a challenge.
That is
'Cause, yeah, with the booking.
miserable defending from Morocco.
Yeah,
Look at the
it's
nutmeg.
Like it wasn't me
It was
who
like-
fouled, but-
2 nutmegs.
My hands were not there. I might have chested or headbutted, but it wasn't my hands. Surely, Canada. Come on now. Come on now, Canada.
Davies over it again. He did whip in a nice one last time.
You can take like 10% off of it.
Same technique though. That's what we want
Fine
to see.
Joe.
That's a,
That's too much again. Oh, almost another own goal.
a lot of weight.
Canada's all-time World Cup goal scorer might be own goal by the end of this game.
OG came in clutch for us.
Top World Cup. Put the blank check down on the
Yeah,
table.
the old-
Whatever he wants. Oh, geez, at the wheel.
The old corruption. All right, Junior's on this one
Junior,
though.
you got this,
Which
Junior.
is weird. Like, I mean, even on corners, like I said, I don't love Davies on them, but if you're gonna make him take one, why not the in-swinger?
Yeah, I don't get. I've
It's a Stephen Vittoria time.
never been an outswinger guy. That's not a bad ball, though. Oh, Atiba! Oh, that's it! Come on! Come on, Ali! Oh!
Oh, it's
No!
Atiba!
Whoa,
Come
Teebs!
on! No way! What a ball! Just make
Unreal.
Atiba with the
Atiba laser.
Is it in?
No. And then Vittoria tries to grab it with his hands, and then Johnston goes up like a fish out of water, like a salmon going up the run. What's up, Steven? Put your hands down, Steven.
Atiba.
And then, Ali got pushed.
Yeah, where's the pen?
Johnston, that was
Where's the pen?
well earned. Oh, Atiba, I thought that was your moment.
God.
Okay,
mother.
chat. Canada might win this game, chat. Canada might win this game, chat.
Go to VAR. Go to
Come
VAR
on.
for something. I don't know what. Just go to VAR.
It's an incredible sleeve, by the way, on that guy.
Oh my.
Jason DeVos and Mauro Biello. There are 3 very different hairstyles in that one shot.
Very different hairstyle.
Woo! Chat,
That
we're back, chat.
sucks.
Chat, we're back.
meters.
Yep.
Atiba Hutchinson, man.
Atiba Hutchinson.
In his 101st appearance for Canada.
Oh, a World Cup goal. You would have had Davies in the next gen, and then Atiba.
Literally,
What took my ball?
17 years of difference there.
That is heartbreaking.
Speaking of years, you want to hear something disgusting? Canada's next World Cup game, I'll be a senile 30-year-old man, and it makes me want to cry.
You're 96?
I'm a 96.
That's what I am as well, and producer T. Alex, where are you?
I'm a 2000.
You're 2000.
Yeah, Alex
Older
is,
than
Alex
me.
is an infant.
Alex is young.
I'm a child.
I'm old and washed up.
Shout out to all my 2000s out there.
Shout out.
2000.
You and my cousin are the same months.
Wow.
Mr. Blue, no, that's not a goal. It has to fully cross the line. Life is great. The 3-letter sucks. Can't even remind. No. See, okay, here's the thing, chat. This is very important, chat. Take notes. TSN.
GLT. Let's see how close it was.
That is half the ball, not over the line. There you go, chat. For all the doubters and naysayers. But here's your inside television lesson, chat. TSN does not control the broadcast at all. They control their studio, and Luke and Stevie do the commentary over it, but it's all produced by a host broadcaster is what it's called. So whenever you're mad, understand that is not always the company who's airing the game who's actually doing the production.
All I'll say is whoever is, their director thinks he's Steven Spielberg. So I see one cut to a fullback when they're building out of the back. And they need to ban some of those cuts.
Junior, remember when I said I don't like the outswinger? I was wrong.
See, this is Victoria time. Aha.
That's not a good ball at all.
Horrible.
Okay, well, they've been near perfect. Kone. Is it just a CF Montreal thing to tape your hands and wrists?
I think so.
I love it. I respect it.
Style.
Boxing?
Boxing.
What do you think
I
they're
would go
that's
against Kamal.
their athletic tape budget every year must be insane. Morocco is terrified, chat.
Yeah, they are.
Morocco is terrified. Look at the panic. Look at the panic here. Where's the ball? Can't find the ball. Where's the ball? Oh, I'm going to put it out for a corner.
Come on.
No, it was almost a handball, producer too. You're right.
Come on, Canada. Come on,
Okay.
Belgium.
4
Together,
corners
the
now for
collective.
Canada. Atiba. Redemption arc Atiba.
Don't want to give.
Oh, Junior. The first one was so good. Oh, this didn't work last time. Milan, thank you.
Oh,
Thank
Florian,
you.
you're making me nervous, man.
That was a combined age of like 70 on that pass.
Yeah.
Oh my
Take
goodness.
it.
We aren't really scared, says Nosi. Nosi, I think you're scared. It's okay. This is a safe place.
I mean, Morocco at least, like,
You know what? We want to talk about
Is that Joe Waterman?
no, that's a Waterspoon.
Spoonie.
That was 24.
Spoony's coming
Spoony's
on.
getting his moment. That could have been a handball. Eh?
I want to say
Give me
Hoylett
a
then.
Spoonie chop and a goal.
Waterspoon
Let's
for
go, David.
If Spoonie scores, we're all gonna go get
For
that
Hoylett.
and chug it.
David Waterspoon.
So that's the final change of this FIFA World Cup for Canada.
Spoonie comes in. St. Johnstone fans will love it.
Oh, that's Twitter's about to pop off.
Spoonie.
How much do you think the UEFA coaching license classes are just like charades and hand gestures? Because I feel like that's all it takes to be a coach.
2 here.
Every single time. It's incredible. Hamdallah and El Yamik into the game for Morocco. Got to change something. Back-footed. Croatia, Belgium still 0-0 in the 78th minute. Chat, let's get a roll call,
KDB,
chat. Also some W's in the chat for spoon time,
Spoonie.
but also roll call. Where are we watching from, chat?
But also, while we wait for the roll call, let's just throw this out there since
Mhm.
we were quite angry at John Herdman
Yep.
before the half. Canada
Thank you,
coming
Josh
back
Deming.
and showing
Yeah, I
some
got you.
fight is certainly, again, we talked about John Herdman being on the hot seat in the first half. Has he done enough this second half to
I mean,
calm some of the waters, let's say?
But I don't think the waters were ever calm. I think it was just
Well, I know,
frustration.
I just mean
But
more
you,
like
yeah.
in terms of okay, he can make these adjustments and he can.
But here's the flip side of that, because I agree. But you look at how well they're playing in the second half, and you're thinking, how is that the 11 you picked to start the game?
Yes, that's the thing with coaching, right? It's getting this right from the start, and then it's being on your toes from that point on.
I would say he got a W for Belgium, an L for Croatia, and if he gets a result against Morocco, a neutral. But if he loses, I feel like there's too many question marks with this match.
Oh, Waller's been bodied off the ball. Referee.
One thing I'll add for Croatia, though, is that, again, he did do well was the halftime adjustments. Because when watching the game back, Canada genuinely did play well from 45 to 65 till they let in that cheap Kramaric goal. And that's, again, they did have good halftime adjustments in that regard.
I just felt, again, just the way, like, Belgium and Croatia are two drastically different teams. I thought you approached Belgium correctly. I thought you approached Croatia, like, just with the mindset, like, that midfield wasn't going to do damage. And they just ran Canada into the ground. And I just feel like you could have maybe saw it coming.
Garnett's in Saskatoon, Gattel's in Ottawa.
That's a
Well, I think
Shout out
Belgium
Toontown.
was an A. Like, he got it right from
Yep,
the start.
100%.
Adjusted. I think Croatia was somewhere between a C and a B because he got it wrong from the start, but then he adjusted, and then at
But-
the end he got open. So far this game, great to be determined.
yes,
He didn't get
C
it
minus right now.
He didn't get it right from the start, but at least there's been signs. of
Shout out the
adjustment.
foot soldiers. A little cavalry love.
Yeah, it was almost like Canada weren't interested at the beginning, and then they're like, okay, we're down 2-0, and we could go 0-3, or they just settled into the match. Like, I don't know, it just didn't. Like I said, I use the word uninspiring. That's kind of what it looked like to me.
It was an abysmal first half.
Yeah, but
And it doesn't help that like you get everyone hyped up, you train well, you do everything right, and then you have an absolute howler like 2 minutes into the game. Speaking of, G Milan, thank you.
That's the one question to put in the whole Herdman tactical discussion is, like, that's like literally the nightmare of a coach. You spend 4 days drafting up a tactical plan,
Yep.
and then you go down to a goal like that in the first 5 minutes.
But still, I mean, when he spent 4 days drawing up that tactical plan, no one said, "Hey, Kay Osorio, those
I
two,
mean,
that's what you're
again,
gonna."
Again, I'm not.
I-
I'm not disagreeing on that front,
Yeah.
but we didn't also. He had a plan with that pivot, and I also do
Yeah.
think it's important to remember that the early goal kind of removed us the chance to see what that plan was because the game got so stretched, as we know, isn't their forte.
Yeah, and the early goal was no one's. I mean, you know, one that doesn't come down to tactics. It comes down to just poor decision
Well,
making.
Canada stretched, touch. Oh, there you go, Squid.
No, don't cut to.
What are they?
You're not Steven Spielberg. You're not James Cameron. Like, why? We don't need to see his face when there's a transition moment going on.
Davies, oh come on.
Come on, Alfonso. By the way, Nosy, I did see your message in the chat. Good luck to you as well. This is just fun banter.
Yeah, we're going for the Moroccans. Well, like,
I beg your pardon?
compared to the other ones.
Producer
Like,
T, can we mute him?
no. I didn't mean to win this match.
We're going for the Moroccans.
But
he says.
I would rather see Morocco get out of the group than Croatia, just for example. Like,
So Canada got some history, or not history, but apparently, according to Twitter, I don't know. I'm not going to fact check.
According to Twitter is always the terrifying way to start a
But
sentence.
it is people that I usually would trust on this sort of thing. That was the first OG of the World Cup, and it was the 100th goal of the World Cup. So,
Wow.
there you go, Canada. Don't even get credited for the 100th goal. Get the old OG player of the match.
Oh, Dane St. Clair was fast off the bench to get the ball moving. You love to see it.
Put me in, coach.
he's showing his commitment to it.
Look at my reaction speed, coach.
Got 10 minutes here. You got to imagine Morocco's going to start sitting back a little bit. I'm curious about the other game, too, because, I mean, it looks like in the other game, I'm only keeping half an eye on it, but it looks like Croatia's having more of the ball, which is a little bit surprising, just because, unless they're just trying to top the group, because they need to,
Croatia's not played well.
no, they
They
need
really haven't.
they need to win to top the group, and a draw right now will get them second, and a loss will knock them out.
Correct. As it stands right now, Morocco finished top the group. Croatia go through as the second best team.
That's
Right now, Morocco, as it stands, Croatia has the edge on goal difference. If I'm not mistaken.
But Morocco would have 7 points, wouldn't they?
Right now, Morocco's. Oh yeah, sorry, that's 7. My standings.
Spoony!
Oh, Spoonie with the fake.
He hit the
Surely.
Oh,
That's a corner. That's a Canadian corner.
Yeah,
Get over there, Alphonso. Chat, it's happening. Alistair Johnson just putting his body on the line as like the shortest player in that area is my favorite thing about him.
He's going to have so much fun in Celtic, man. So
Oh,
excited
yeah.
for him. Little back pass there.
Glasgow is probably like one of the top 5 cities on my list, by the way.
To go to?
Yeah, I'm just a big history guy. All right, I digress. We need to talk about vacation planning. Right?
Well, you're going to have some fun going there and then watching a Celtic game with that.
Heck yeah, well, okay.
Oh, what's up, big
Johnston's underneath it.
Nice little set piece there from Davies.
Better.
We got to give him his dues when they do.
Good luck, Nosy.
Good one.
83rd minute, chat. Canada, I think that was their 6th corner.
Yeah, the second
Fourth.
half has
Much
been
better.
impressive.
You know, the other thing that I don't think we've mentioned once, which surprises me, one of the reasons why they looked so kind of all over the place and like they were missing one of their most important players is because they are with Eustaquio.
Eustaquio's not there. Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, us, look, the Canadians know how important he is to this team. For me, he's the most irreplaceable player.
Correct.
I mean, we saw it during qualifiers.
Yeah, I mean, we were missing Davies for half of the Ocho, and he freaking, I don't know. It was an incredible performance from Eustaquio, and I mean he's doing for Porto too. But I don't want to see him push in a match that doesn't.
Agreed.
Yeah, like it. I mean, it does. Like I said, it
And-
does matter, but it doesn't.
In context.
In context,
and
It's
that's
not worth dying over.
it's good management from John too because they don't want to piss off Porto either.
no.
Well, you're going to need a lot of
Yeah.
communication with him, and maybe, hey,
Oh, Spoonie.
if they like the relationship, maybe
That's
they
a
invest
foul
in
against
more
Tejan.
Canadians in the
Don't give that foul. Give that
Yeah.
corner. Do it, ref. Be a good guy, ref.
future. Give me a spoony corner.
Tejan getting a little edgy.
Well, that's Tejan's
A little
game.
edgy towards the end here. Putting Belgium. Uh-oh. KDB.
Corner for the Belgians.
Belgium's making so if Belgium score, that's Morocco first, Belgium second.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. I'm hoping for a draw in ours and then a win for Belgium. That would be my perfect scenario.
And there's a Steven Vittoria yellow card.
One for the record book, Steven. Hurry up.
What do you
hurry
guys
up,
think of
hurry up,
Argentina's purple kits?
Love them. Love
Yeah,
them.
I thought those were
Might be
thought those
might
were
be the
clean.
best in the tournament, like alternate wise. Australia's are awful, and I say that as the Socceroos being my team.
Do we have a corner right now or no?
No.
No, we don't.
They gave the foul to Tejan.
Just gotta yell. Like,
Yeah.
it's a whole new transition phase at this point.
Okay, so Morocco right now on 7. If they concede, they drop to 5, which would also drop their goal differential to -2. But then if Belgium score, Croatia goes to -2. So that might be a fair play thing.
Well, no, because
So, yeah,
As it stands.
as it stands.
Yeah.
Hakimi is off in the 85th minute. Belgium is absolutely buzzing. Belgium is absolutely buzzing.
Wait, so wouldn't the fair
Meunier!
play...
Oh!
Wait, wouldn't the fair
Good
play thing
fuck.
just apply for who gets out? Like, who gets what seed?
I
Because
don't.
if it draws, Belgium obviously can't pass.
Yeah, so Belgium score. Oh, right, because right now 4 has
Yeah.
them with the draw. That's okay, so they'd go to 6.
So,
Yeah.
Morocco
Yeah, they're-
would fall to
what happens
5.
If Morocco, if Canada scores,
Croatia falls to 4. Okay.
if Canada scores, then it would be between could go down to fair play points between Croatia and Morocco, but to see who gets what in the knockout
Mhm.
stages. Too much going on.
Aiden Hazard comes in the 87th minute. And that's about all he's.
That's all he's good for.
Yeah. The cut of the Adidas kits are so strange. How the back kind of goes a bit deeper. It's not a very flattering cut
No.
when you're not tucking it in.
No. But there's a lot to play for on the group in these last
This
three
is
or so minutes.
unbelievable.
Jenkins spent about 3 minutes there trying to figure out what the scenarios are going to be.
And nearly missed something, but importantly didn't. If I see another Laib headdress in the crowd, I'm going to cry because I want one so badly.
All the Moroccan fans waving their phone lights kind of looks cool.
Surrender. They're surrendering because they know that they're in trouble.
I'd love to hear what chant they're singing.
Morocco topping the group. So that means they avoid Spain, which is, well, if Spain
or
gets a
Germany
win.
or Japan, pick your poison there.
Well, I think they would hope for Japan.
Yeah.
I'd assume, but
I mean, Japan is no slouch either.
no, they're. I don't know. I have a feeling. Come on, Belgium, find something here.
Spain,
Arguing with each other.
Be a fascinating match.
Meunier is devastated. Oh my God! What is with the goalkeepers today?
Canadian-born goalkeepers against Canada. They're always good for fun.
Why did he? What is he? Oh, that was actually really clever. Then, if he
He's
touched it outside.
He's trying to channel his inner Jose.
Oh.
What is Alex Bono doing?
Nice ball. Oh, he blew it.
Bono, handshake voodoo.
Bunu Bono.
handshake Jose, Verge catching strains. Poor guy.
Atiba, foul. Come on. Belgium got a dangerous free kick coming up, and they got KDB over it. Just got to give the Belgians some hope here.
That
Poor ball.
was a wasteful ball.
Poor ball.
Oh, adorable little Belgian fan.
Oh, that's a good ball.
I agree, and how this game teases me. Says Burnaby's finest. I agree.
Just wish Atiba would have put that in.
Yeah, I
That's
know.
what teases me. The fact that Atiba could have scored a World Cup goal. It's inches away. Breaks my heart. That way,
Okay, Tejan.
No!
Oh, referee.
No!
The last one. The last one was the
Unbelievable.
right call. That's not the right call.
Give me 9 minutes of additional time here.
He's
For the
he's
0-0.
trying to shield Tejan. Turns into it. That's garbage. Hey, calm down.
Now, in the mindset of Croatia right now, because you obviously know the other score, do you push to try to top the group, or do you hold on to, second?
Oh, there it is. Surely Belgium. Oh my God, Lukaku.
you
Are
suck!
you kidding me? A sitter. Croatia
gosh.
is so lucky.
3 of them.
How? How? Chat. Well worked Belgian goal at the exact same time. Perfect cross.
on.
Lukaku's just not defended at all. Tries to chest it down. Misses it.
Could he not? Where's the cross? Can he not get a head or a boot?
You
To it?
could-
What is
he-
he doing?
Lukaku is one of the biggest men I've ever seen in my
Why are you
life.
chesting it?
And he didn't even chest it. He hit the side of him. He hipped
Oh.
it down.
You want Martinez fired, man? Just say it. That was brutal.
90th minute. There's 4 minutes of added time. Croatia, Belgium. Larray is on the ball. Thought he got spiked. Referee says no.
Oh my lord! Come on, Belgium, wake up. Lukaku just.
What? Romelu frickin' Lukaku.
Come on, Miller. I know what you're trying to do. There
Off
should be
end Zeri.
a goal. Should be a goal kick. Thank you. Get going, lads.
Oh,
4
KDB.
minutes of stoppage time in this Canada game feels criminal.
We got 4 minutes.
That's what people are saying in the stadium, so I trust them. Shout out to Brendan Dunlop
Dunny.
on the ground.
Dunny, my boy.
The Belgium-Croatia one got 4 minutes as well. Look at that cross. What a cross. Oh, Lukaku.
I don't often say this, but I feel like that's one I could have scored.
Oh my gosh. I don't know what he was doing.
That guy, so I don't say it often, but I think that's one right.
No, I'll be that guy. I'm scoring that every
The
single
only thing
time.
I could think there is that the keeper jumping for it threw him off. Like because it kind of looked like Livakovic was going to catch it.
Tejan, that's actually a great ball. David's flat-footed there for some reason.
Yeah, there's 4
I've noticed
4
a lot about
minutes.
Canada's strikers on some of those crosses. Always like flat.
in the box. Come on, Belgium. This is your chance.
Okay,
This is your moment.
Belgium. You should not be allowed to exist as a country after this game.
Asking so many questions.
Really good, though.
Oh.
It's a good thing their waffles are good because their football team is not.
Jeez.
Wow. Oh, Richie Larea says, "Get off of me."
Oh, JD.
Oh, Richie. That was beautiful.
Alex is 30 seconds ahead of us.
Yeah, maybe David is not good in this tournament at all. Like, maybe we're just trying to protect him because he's a great player for us usually, but he has not been good.
No, he's had a very quiet tournament. Yeah. He did a lot of work in the first match, but
For sure.
other than that, I still felt from him it's still quiet.
One thing with JD, I feel like there isn't a perfect match between him and the Canadian system.
Mm-hmm.
No.
I don't always think he suits sometimes the play around him.
I mean, for Lille this season, he's playing like in a 4-2-3-1, which is a nice taste of seeing him in a lone
Oh my
striker.
God, Milan Boyan's in the box.
Get up there, Milan. Make up for it.
If Milan Boyan scores, I don't know what any of us would do.
I'd throw the
I
sweatpants,
might
the
shave my
darts,
head.
Smoke a cigarette in here. And we're not welcome.
I
back.
would absolutely be down for a Milan Borjan celebration dart.
Celebration dart.
Davies, when
Davies,
Milan Boyan's
why?
in the box, you get the ball in the box. Oh my.
Borjan's
Borjan's
staying up.
staying. He
Hell,
gets to do it!
hell yeah.
Why was that one of the best crosses we've seen on World Cup?
Oh,
It was from the dark.
take him out, Borjan.
Oh,
Oh, the swing and the miss.
Oh,
give it to me,
Milan.
take it away.
Oh,
there's the fun.
Milan. There. Oh, look. Maybe Alphonso Davies should be left back, says Adam Jenkins again.
Oh my lord.
This game, you know how there's a new movie called Cocaine Bear coming out? That's what this game is
I
right
did
now.
see that. I saw some pictures of it.
I saw that and I'm like, oh, the Boston Bruins alternate or reverse retro is trending. And then there's apparently a movie called
retro.
Cocaine Bear.
What happened in the Canada game? I was looking at the.
Oh, Milan.
Get a foul? Use his hands? No.
90 seconds, Canada. Croatia are going to do this. Croatia might win it. That would be just rewards.
You got seconds left, Belgium.
Yeah.
Pump it up.
Steve Vittori got punched in the back of the head. Referee.
Did you blow it?
That's it.
Okay, Croatia, Belgium is done. Croatia advance.
Belgium is going.
Belgium are ousted. The Red Devils.
They're celebrating. See, I think they're through no matter what.
Yeah.
They're through. But they hold on to this result. like top of the group.
Félicitations, Morocco. I hope you concede a last-minute goal.
If
That's-
they do, they lose out on first place.
To be fair, that is horrifying for him. If I'm the coach and that's happening, I'm losing my mind.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
No, yeah, we still got top of the group up for grabs, and that could make a big difference.
Lukaku is devastated, as he should be.
Nice ball to Fonzie.
I can both feel for Romelu Lukaku and think he is wasteful. Final 30 seconds.
Put something in, boys.
Chat. Come on, Tejan.
That's
Heavy
a
touch.
terrible touch.
That's not a good touch.
Oh, we got both games on now. Oh,
The
no.
multiplex is absolutely throwing me off. Okay, go Milan. Go
The
Milan.
Moroccans
They
are-
blew it early?
Yeah.
Referee. You said minimum of 4 minutes of added time. So Morocco top the group. Herdman gets a hug. Croatia go through in second. Belgium third. And Canada lose all 3 matches
Mother.
again.
Well,
Deep exhale, chat, because the Socceroos are still in it, and it's okay. But obviously, we now have 3.5 years to pick this apart every which way. I will say, initially, first half abysmal, garbage.
yeah.
Like not even going to try and put lipstick on that pig. It sucked. It was hard to watch, and it's just deflating how they started the game with the goal that they conceded. From that, like miles better second half. Like that was convincing, dominant Canadian performance, and yet they come away with nothing.
Say unlucky not to get a result.
Own goal. Canada's only goal in this game is an own goal, so Alphonso Davies has the only Canadian goal in World Cup history still. Still no points for Canada. There's the Lieb address. And, I mean, fair play to Morocco. They
group.
dominated Canada in that first half. They topped the group.
Wow.
And Belgium and Canada are going home. Alex is frantically typing. We will have the full reaction. Producer Armin is in here as well. We're going to get ready for
The words.
our awards. So if you handsome lad need to go put a suit on,
Absolutely.
I will vamp. Producer Armin is in to get everything prepared.
What's going on, guys?
Welcome to the big boy table, says George Rodriguez. Yeah, that's fair. Can't argue with that. I mean, obviously Morocco absolutely elated, as they should be. That's 7 points from 3 games from Morocco, considering the group, is incredibly impressive. Absolutely deserve it. And I think a lot of Canadians are feeling disappointed, rightfully so.
That's one word for it. I think KJ was taking it particularly rough. I don't know if you guys saw his Twitter, but
No,
Yeah,
I haven't
he
been on
was
Twitter
angry.
once.
yeah, he's not having it.
What's he frustrated with? Selection?
I
Yeah,
think
he wasn't happy with the
tactics and
roster
selections,
tactics.
no substitutions.
Well, the thing is, like again, it makes no sense. No sub and Canada actually looked better
Mhm.
in the second half and for that first 15
Yep.
minutes. So again, maybe it's one of those where
'Cause-
you just needed that team to like. It feels like the goal killed whatever plan they had.
Yeah,
100%. 100%. That's worst case scenario. Is like for everything that Alfonso's goal did for Canada against Croatia, the conceding that early and just like a stupid self-inflicted wound is obviously worst case scenario. So
100%.
and it was just to like from there that's just like the natural athlete reaction. I think it's like just a natural human reaction too when things seem to go like that terribly wrong. Like everyone just tries to be the one to fix it. Everyone's trying too much. Davies again, so many times in that game, is trying to do everything because he feels like his back's against the wall and he's trying to be the one to bring Canada a bit of success there. David, when he came in, I don't know if David's like confidence was just completely shattered by the fact that he got benched. Wouldn't surprise me. He hadn't had a good tournament, and then he gets sat, and then when he comes in, he's quiet. Tejan was good, but didn't get enough service to really make a difference. But I mean, like, that was shocking in a lot of ways, how many different shapes and systems it seemed like they tried to play in the same game. Like, it definitely felt a little bit all over the place. And I think that's going to be the thing that frustrates a lot of Canadians. Not to mention that they don't get a single point. And I wasn't before the game on team, if they don't get a result against Morocco, it's a failure. But when you reflect back on it, to finish last in the group, score only 1 goal, which is a bit harsh on Atakubi because he makes that goal. Obviously doesn't happen without Atakubi, but an own goal and Alphonso Davies with basically 3 defensive howlers for every good offensive thing Canada did. Like that's going to be the tough pill to swallow. The bright side, because we're looking for some of those silver linings, is that we only have to wait 3.5 years to do it again, and we'll probably all be there because it's just down the road, and it's going to be incredibly exciting, even with 1,500 countries in the tournament. Like everyone who exists and has a football team gets to play in the next World Cup, but that's fine. And the other thing that's kind of sad is there's not going to be the World Cup qualifying journey, which I think brought
That was the best part
a
of
lot
this
of
whole
people in.
experience.
100% it was. And that's why I don't think it's the World Cup after they made it is a disappointment. It's a failure in a lot of ways. But this journey that they've been on certainly isn't. It has captured a lot of imagination. It has made a lot of people believe in what the team can be. Now it's understanding that the next 18 months for this group is going to be weird. going back to Nations League. You'll have players that retire. You'll hope that the center backs can develop and become much more confident, much more reliable. I think a lot of people were worried about the center back position heading into the tournament, and I think those fears were realized a few different times, unfortunately. And you don't want to point the finger at Steven and Kamal because I think they did everything that they could. But
Also, it shows how important midfield is at this level, not just for the attack,
Yes.
but also primarily the defensive side of things.
right, you can't be that weak in the center of the park, just up and down. You think about it. The bright spots for Canada all tournament long that got the minutes from John were wide players. Every single one of them. David kind of invisible, Kyle Larin kind of invisible, but a lot of that is the midfield being overrun and that service not being able to be given to them. And then Kamal, Steven have some tough play. Johnston, excellent. Eustaquio before his injury, excellent, but he only got to play half the World Cup. Davies is going to be one that's polarizing with all the garbage off the field and so much of it undeserved. But when all of that is happening and the superstar isn't playing like the superstar, it makes it a whole lot more frustrating, I think, and easy for the people who don't watch, or they watch sarcastically because they want to point at Canada not quite being there to say Davies didn't do enough. And I think Davies would be the first person to tell you that he didn't do enough. But you can't just say, like, individually it wasn't, what's the word? It's not like the effort wasn't there. It's not like he played poorly. I just think everything around him in that environment wasn't conducive to success.
100%.
And that's just where we're at now. Look at Josh Deming. I gotta get some.
I was gonna go the Herdman no button, but Armin wanted me classy, so
I like it.
we have the zipper tie.
Can't exactly figure out how to get the media playing for some reason. It's kind of annoying.
Think about performances of the match for Canada. I'd say Atiba, but he only played 60 minutes? 58, 62? Atiba came in and made a difference. Almost got that goal. Half the ball was over the line. And then Johnston getting bodied as he tried for the follow-up. If Stephen Vittoria had have caught that ball in his hand, I think he would have been forced to retire after the giveaway in the first half. That was hilarious to see him jump up for. I know it's just reaction, but man. What are you typing away over there, Alex?
I'm just, because I love to see how things age, I'm making a way too early 2026 squad.
Good boy.
Wow.
What's that? That the timing for that is spot on.
I've been thinking about it all week ever since they got eliminated, so
Alright,
that's what I do.
we're gonna go old school and rudimentary on this and hope for the best.
I like it. Well, Josh is dressed to the nines,
Yeah.
so we'll do a little swap-a-roo. I will go pour coffee and put a button on my shirt.
Same, I'll put in a tie when I'm done this.
All right, Josh. Big audible. Chat, just so you know, if you missed it late, and I see the chat still pouring in, so thank you for that. We appreciate it. We'll roll through some of those in a moment. We are doing our awards, 10 of them, right?
Yes.
And Armin, what are those 10 awards since you've just spent 90 minutes polishing them up? What's the chat in store for here? Player of the
Player
tournament?
of the tournament, player of the journey. We got some interesting ones thrown in there, like I think we've got best dressed, cheekiest moment. So yeah, we'll get it all set up for you guys here, and then we'll go through the list of awards
And
across
chat,
the last 4
remember,
years.
we'll give you hours, of course, but we'll also have polls going the whole time, so you'll get to vote for sure. Definitely want to hear your takes on our awards. And then, we'll take some questions. Also, since we have a moment, shout out Raf Oheen for re-upping with Valor. Saw a Foot Soldiers drum or two in the stands today, so love little CPL content. And for CPL fans who haven't seen the interview with the new Halifax Wanderers head coach, Patrice Geyser, it is up on our YouTube channel now. Very excited for that too. So lots to discuss in our debrief here. So if you want to go pour yourself a coffee too, maybe make a little brunch. If you're having a Caesar, some with some alcohol in it after what we saw, it's warranted.
Let me jump in here. on, chat. What are we saying? That was a goal? Yeah. Well, the entirety of FIFA's technological capacity tells us it's not, but it definitely felt like it should have been. I also thought the Alistair Johnston follow-up was interesting because he kind of almost got at the end of it. Taylor, do you know why the media source isn't showing anything when we upload a file? Like, why am I not getting anything here?
Is it something that needs to play?
Yeah,
If you switch to it, it will play.
even if it's like this now?
Yeah.
Okay, let's give it a test
Yeah,
before
anything
we.
videos like that.
Let's give it a test before we.
As soon as you flip it over, it'll start playing.
All right. I think we're good. Let's chat in. Good luck next time, Canada. The second half, you were better. I think this is one of those weird, like, kind of silver linings that Canada can take out of this. Is like, things weren't as good as maybe they could have been, and we didn't see that Canada that we saw for the last 4 years in qualifying. The one that, you know, you put like a challenge in front of them, they'll meet it. But at the same time, like, this is kind of what you need to have happen to you so that you can improve and grow. Like, I think it was unrealistic to expect that Canada was going to make a huge splash in this World Cup. I think there's obviously some disappointment because we didn't see that specialness that we saw maybe as much as we did in the World Cup qualifying. But you take 3 losses, you take those lumps, and man, what a choice do you have besides regrouping right now?
Yeah, there's a couple comments coming in. One saying, I don't mind being beaten by other teams, but I hate giving away kindergarten mistakes.
Yeah.
It is frustrating being on, you know, the world's biggest stage, waiting so long to get here, and then seeing, I mean, mistakes that just simply shouldn't happen at this type of level. Also have a comment talking about how different it could have been if this whole tournament could be different if Davies scores that PK, and I agree.
Yep. Facts.
I agree. This mindset would have been very different going into this match. Maybe you even like, I don't know, so I mean, take this with a grain of salt. But if we even won or got a draw to that result, maybe like Eustaquio and a couple of those players might not even have played or played as much against Croatia because knowing that there's a fallback. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think each game would have been approached differently if they would have got a result in the first one, and that's where the opportunity was there. They played like they deserved a bare minimum result. Weren't able to do so. We go home 0-3, still made some history, got a goal, which was good. Got to show that we can compete with Morocco, Belgium. Alex has got the, he doesn't want to do those buttons up, but maybe when we hand out best style, we'll take off the tie. And
I've got my best outfit and our shirt impression.
Yeah, there you go. But
Light dress shirt I've somehow been wearing since 6.
it's good, man. It's good. But hopefully you guys are excited for, hopefully you guys are excited for the awards. I will just get you guys prepared. I'll just name just what they are, not the nominees or anything like that. But let's go. So we have 10 awards, guys. The first one will be the tournament MVP, which will be the best player at the World Cup.
And to confirm, these are all going to be voted on by you. So we're going to put up polls in the YouTube chat, and
we are.
you guys are going to be the ones telling us who you guys think is whatever the category is. So make sure that you're hanging out in chat, and we're going to go through each one of these individually. So the first one is MVP.
And it's a cool moment. Like this is still special. Regardless, this is a learning experience. We take these lessons, we lead into 2026. But there's still reasons to be happy. There's still reasons to just talk about this incredible group and what they've achieved, and that's what we're hoping to do today at the awards. And like Armin just mentioned, the first award will be tournament MVP, which is the best player at the World Cup. We have player of the journey, best player over World Cup and the qualifying cycle. We have the defender of the tournament, or unsung hero, as this sharp man has said. We have best quote from the World Cup qualifying cycle and or World Cup. We have the best moment of the World Cup. We have most improved player, which is the player who's improved the most since the start of World Cup qualifying until the end of the World Cup. Best swag, as Alex and I are trying to represent. Player who has the best or most unique style. Has some good nominees there. Best celebration over qualifying in the World Cup. Best team veteran. So best veteran presence. The most experienced head. Who helped maybe shape the youngsters. And then the final one, which is one of my favorite ones, it is the cheekiest moment, best wow moment, I guess. And we have some good nominees in there. So we'll let you guys know. You guys will vote for it, and that will be how you guys will determine who the winner is. So hopefully you guys are excited for that.
Yep. Okay, so when Adam is back, we can get started. I think everything's all set up for our little award show.
Little award show. Should be fun, ladies and gentlemen.
Spin that microphone around.
Which one? Like this?
Yeah, just switch it away because I'm talking into the back of it.
Oh, okay. Is that better?
Best quote is Herdman. It's pretty clear.
Yeah. I think best
Right.
quote. I think best quote we limited to best quote from the World Cup, and then also we're doing the veteran award at the very end as kind of an honorary award.
Honorary award. We got 4 good nominees there. I think there'll be 4 nominees for every single category.
I just thought of it now. We should have done it. It should have been like an in memoriam section where it's like players who were starting like World Cup qualifying and just like could not get there by the end of it.
So they just pull one out by
Like
first
Scott
time.
Arfield.
Best of the rest. What?
Scott Arfield.
Scott Arfield. What? Yeah. Best of the rest. We can maybe do a fan vote towards the end.
Yeah.
And the best fan comment, says George.
Best fan comment. I like that.
Best fan comment. I like that. But yeah, it'll be completely up to you guys. So hopefully you guys are excited just to finish off what was a pretty special month or so it's a pretty special year. But yeah, big shout out to Morocco. Congratulations on topping the group. I don't know if there's a lot of people out there who would have predicted Morocco to top the group. So it was quite the achievement. Definitely had to work for it. Canada made them work for it in the second half. You guys kind of had the first half pretty figured out there. You also have to know the goalkeeper, study his past penalties, saves, misses. Let's talk about penalties. Penalties in general are problematic this World Cup. Last time I checked, the save rate was 26%, which is crazy, regardless of who takes it. Yeah, I don't think... I mean, you know, when Argentina gets a penalty, Messi's going to step up. It's known that Messi isn't the best penalty taker. I think the context behind Davies missing it is the fact that I think that I think a lot of us think that David should have taken it because he's a regular penalty taker. He's taken it for Canada before. It just made more sense. But again, I think it was more of the man of the moment, which is why our guy, Alphonso Davies, ended up taking it. But it's all in hindsight. I mean, he's perfect from the spot in his 2 attempts for Canada, so... He wanted that moment. He just wasn't quite able to put it in the back of the net. So,
All right, boys.
we're underway. Right.
We're just missing Mr. Jenkins.
Oh, that's right. Let's start recording. All right.
All right, we're starting.
Get set up over here, and then we're just gonna wait for Adam.
Sounds good.
All right. So,
Who's taking
Josh, grab the main chair for now.
all right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll get into comments for right now. Get prepared for our awards. I went the all black approach. Might go a button undone a little bit here towards the end, but yeah, looking classy, San Diego. All right. Canada lead in XG in 2 out of 3 matches. They didn't get a single point. So sick.
XG Kings. Hey, if they played a
XG
38-game
XG.
season, they're on track for something good.
Yeah, that's tough. But let us know, guys, what was your biggest takeaway from the tournament? Just your biggest takeaway from the entire tournament, whether it's a lesson, whether it's a positive, a negative. Let us know in the chat what was your biggest takeaway from this tournament. Also, be sure to drop a like and a sub if you were just joining us. Our award ceremony, as you can tell, will get underway shortly.
We're dressed the part.
Alex, what was your one biggest takeaway from the tournament? I know it's hard and you're on the spot, but if you had to pick one where you're like, okay, this is a good lesson learned. This is a big mistake that we should have fixed. What was your biggest lesson that you're taking away from this tournament?
Midfield is everything at this level.
Feels everything at this level. That's a good tournament.
I think.
That's a long tie, dude.
Yeah, I think for Canada, they need to just at this level, the midfield is everything. I think it showed that Canada has world-class wide players. Genuinely, I think every time they've both of their goals came from wide areas. They've been dangerous in wide areas. We know that. We proved it. We've seen that proof of that in this at the highest level. I think, again, we could talk about the backline all you want, but at this level, again, Croatia, when you look at for example, use them, their midfield was so dominant in 2018. They made it to the final despite having some less than questionable, center back. So I think at this level, it's more about midfield than anything. I think midfield it determines how many chances you get. Midfield determines how many chances you give up. So for Canada, they just need to continue to prioritize being strong in the midfield going forward.
Yeah, I'll take one of the chats, and it's a more positive one, but we have the right to be here. And I think that's a good takeaway. We proved against Belgium, against Morocco, and in pieces against Croatia that, maybe the odd thing went our way. It could have been a bit of a different group. But yeah, I 100% agree with that we deserve to be here. We have a right to be here, and I'm excited to see what this group can do in 4 years' times.
I'll frame it this way, too. If we were to start, let's say, whenever the World Cup wraps up, January 15th, let's say after they take Christmas, they were to do the entire CONCACAF qualifying journey again, Canada's not finishing lower than second. Canada's better than Mexico right now, fully fit, in my opinion. I think Mexico are in a bit of a shambles in their own right. The Americans might finish top of the group if they could do that again. Canada plays some of the best football I've seen from them. Like that game in Hamilton is some of the best I've seen Canada play. Canada played, even when they lost in Nashville, they played well. But talent-wise, I think the Americans might be still a step ahead. Yep. But I genuinely believe Canada is better than Mexico right now. And the rest of CONCACAF is where they are. Costa Rica aren't a very good side. They could still get through, sure. Honduras, we know that they're completely restarting. Panama, you can never sleep on them, and going down is always difficult to play them there. But Canada absolutely belongs. They are at least the second best team in CONCACAF right now.
Yeah, I mean, I would take my chance against the U.S. I mean, if you're going through qualifying,
and you get that energy too. You go 1v1 against the Americans. This team is good enough to beat them consistently. Now they're showing don't take anything away from what the Americans did either in that group. That's a tough group. Yeah. Iran obviously at moments showed that they could be a problem. Wales were dreadful, and I can say that as a Welsh Canadian. But they, on their day, you get a couple goals from Bale and Ramsey, and it's different. And then the Americans played England brilliantly, so they deserve a ton of credit right now. But they performed in their group, and Canada didn't, and ultimately it comes down to that.
Yeah, whether we like it or not, they are doing CONCACAF proud. So,
yes.
All right, Jenkins,
Let's
ready to do this?
Showtime.
I'm the.
You're gonna make the main.
Everyone's dressed up dapper. It's nice to see.
I guess you have to have a jacket to sit in this chair. That's the rule. That's fine with me.
Give us a soft YouTube intro first.
Are we gonna do the separate video for this?
Yeah, we'll cut it after.
Okay. Hey everybody, and welcome to the Canadian men's national team post-tournament rewards or awards. I'm going to start this introduction again. Sorry, chat. Sorry, chat.
You're pulling back the curtain here.
And spin the chair. How's it going, everybody, and welcome to our Canadian men's national team post-tournament awards. We know Canada, they are done. They did not come up with a single point, but there were still plenty of moments to celebrate in Canada's return to the Men's World Cup after 36 years. We have 10 of them to give away, in fact, and a special shout out to those joining us in the chat who are going to vote on these awards live. So, without further ado, gentlemen, can I get a drum roll? Thank you very much. We'll begin with Canada's player of the tournament. Okay, there you have it, folks. The End of Journey Awards officially begin now with some very notable nominees. We are going to get the poll live in the chat for those joining us in real time as this is happening. And if you want to be joining us for more of these future live streams, like and subscribe to this video. But some very notable names, Alex, from what we saw, the End of Journey Awards Tournament MVP. Who gets your vote?
It's a tough choice. It's a lot of guys certainly, it feels like a lot of guys stepped up in different games. And that's what's going to make this difficult, just because of injuries and lineups and everything. There's maybe not a guy who stood out over the course of...
Nobody was the best player in every single game in each
Yeah.
of the three. Yeah, I think that's fair.
So, I mean, I think if I'm going to run through this, I'm going to go for a bit of a bit outside shot. Maybe I'm going to go Tajon Buchanan. I just think he was probably one of the most consistent
Yes.
among the nominees across the three games, because I think all of them had moments. Like Alphonso Davies had the
Had the
best
goal.
moment.
He had the goal.
Arguably. Kamal Miller in that first game was just, he knocked his socks off. Alistair Johnson was great. I just think Tajon Buchanan, that what he brought down the flanks and the way he was going at guys and making things happen, and just he was always a threat on the ball, but he has to do a lot. He kept getting thrown in at left back when maybe he should have been higher up the pitch, did a job in that position. I think Tajon Buchanan did excellent, and I think as long as he continues to polish and clean out his game, he's going to do great things.
I'll turn to Josh after I agree with everything you just said. When you think about Tajon and what he did, and probably where he is still on the pecking order for this team, I think there's probably 4 names you're consistently putting above Tajon in these kinds of conversations. Who's Canada's best player, most important, most valuable player? But in this tournament, he was consistently the most aggressive. He made some of the fewest mistakes. He was, despite there being some moments where we know he is a player that plays with passion and emotion, and that line is very hard to stay on without picking up silly cautions or making fouls in bad times. He, for my money, reined in a lot of that. And like towards the end of the Morocco game, when Canada was pushing for everything because they wanted that point, it got a little bit more on the other side of that line. But with Tajon now, you know what you're getting from him. Match in and match out. And for some of the other nominees on this list, I think some of those players were invisible at times in this tournament. And I don't think at any moment through the 3 matches, Tajon was invisible for me. And that's why he would get my vote for this as well. Josh, is it a clean sheet, or are you going to go with your own?
Nope, I put it on the phone. I voted Tajon Buchanan before. I think Kamal Miller deserves a big shout out. I think he was pretty consistent as well throughout, but with every point you guys said about Buchanan, and I also think it's worth noting that during his performance, and take this as what you will, but he's been now linked to top 5 leagues around the world. So I mean, clearly he's doing something right. He's direct. He's always trying to create. There's not much more to add. I thought he had a pretty complete tournament, except for maybe the finishing, which a little bit. But other than that, I'm impressed, and I'm excited to see a little bit of hype going around him, and hopefully he gets a big move sometime soon, whether it's this window or in the summer.
And I think the finishing note is important because we're not foolish or naive enough to think that he is a complete player yet or a perfect player, but in a lot of ways, it's not his job to be the one to finish. He did his job, and the finishing didn't come from other areas of the park.
Yeah, so that's just it's the finishing that it's like he gets too excited. I've seen multiple times the ball's at his feet and it goes just a mile over the net. It's just I think being a little bit more calm in front of goal and just having the ability just to maybe steer it into the net. Other than that, it's like the finishing where I feel like he sometimes lacks. When he's going 1v1, can cut onto his right. I think that's where he shines.
Well, I think for Tajon Buchanan, the next step in his game is just almost decisions in the final third, and then just being a little more patient. Because the one thing with Buchanan, he goes 100 miles per hour because he can. But we know he's good at beating defenders. We know he's good at getting the byline. And in MLS, when he was doing it, was phenomenal. Like, no one could keep up with him. But I think what the continued adjustment is at this level is that you have to vary. Some of the best wingers, they'll go 5%. And they'll kind of lure the defenders into a false sense of security. They'll pass the ball around, hold possession, which an area that Buchanan will understandably clean up. But then they go at you when they least expect it. And I think once he develops those areas of his game in terms of just being able to slow things down, playing the ball, and then burst forward, then get in the final third. Because I think when he gets in the final third, his decision-making usually is good. I mean, he usually does a good job of knowing when to shoot or cross. Of course, as he continues to progress, he'll get better at those areas. But I just think if he can continue in that middle third, there are times where maybe he tries to beat too many guys or he'll beat a guy and then try to beat him again like it's in MLS, and you can get away with that. And I think if he continues to clean that part out of his game, he could be unstoppable.
And I think the last note before we get the official unveil is that whenever you have those conversations about Major League Soccer and Europe, it's not because you think one is better than the other, and like have your debates, pick your favorite league, etc. MLS is what MLS is, and it's just fine the way it is. It's just different. And every time he's been put into an environment where he's had to adapt, from Syracuse to the Revs, to even the men's Olympic qualifying tournament where he really showed up, and then this journey, he has shown that he is getting there every single time. And I think it's just a matter of time before he's dominating in Belgium. And then, as Josh rightfully points out, that next move will follow. All right, that's our preamble.
And we have the winner?
We have the winner.
We'll see if the people agrees.
See, this is a high quality production, ladies and gentlemen.
Is the Vox Pop, the voice of the people.
The MVP of the tournament, voted Alphonso Davies. Alphonso
good
Davies.
Yeah.
I think that's a good choice.
Listen. You can't say it was wrong. He had the goal. Technically, he was the most valuable. He's the only Canadian that scored.
Yeah, and he had some big moments too. You feel like obviously you remove the penalty from that. He had some good chances, some good flashes. He in wide areas had some great moments. So that's what Alphonso Davies does.
Well, you can't argue with that. In chat, of course, we appreciate the votes. Is there a winner reel, or are we gonna move on to the next award?
We'll do in post.
Okay. So now that was the tournament, right? So the 3 matches, we just saw our first award. But now we're going to zoom out and talk about the MVP, the most valuable player of this entire World Cup journey. All right, the next up is the player of the journey. And you think about the nominees, the players that we could have had. And what makes this award so difficult for me is you got to remember how long this journey was. This is a long journey over multiple countries and all kinds of environments, and players excelling in different areas of the pitch and in different ways. So everyone's going to have a slightly different view on their most valuable player for those reasons, and the votes are already coming in. Josh, I'll go to you first for this one. When you think Davies, David, Eustaquio, Laren, of course, now Kyle being the all-time leading goal scorer again for the program and being a little bit dry in that category in Qatar, but when you think about the journey, which of those 4 gets your vote?
Like I did in the last one, I'm going to give a shout out to Laren because of the goals, and I just thought he was incredible throughout. But I'm going Eustaquio, and for me, I don't feel like it's overly close. I just feel with the rise of Stephen Eustaquio through this was incredible, and you saw it not only in the national team but outside of the national team. He completely changed the way that this midfield played. He's a set-piece specialist. He dictates the tempo. He's everything that we've been dreaming of for a midfield forever, and he was rewarded for it. He got that move to FC Porto. He's now starting for a Champions League side. I know it's not directly, well, it is directly, but it's not about Canada, but it kind of is. It gave his career a huge jump where he's starting regularly, breaking into a Porto side, playing in the round of 16, and I think, in my eyes, a lot of it started because he got that opportunity to do it in the international level with Canada, and he's for me, he's like a complete midfielder, and we saw what it was like when you don't really get him at fully fit. It's just a different looking Canada team. It's a different looking midfield, and for me, it's Stephen Eustaquio.
Alex?
Yeah, I mean, lots of great choices there. Alphonso Davies had clutch moments. Like, it's again, we want to talk about the whole journey. He's the one who scored the winner against Suriname. He's the one who got past that first hurdle, and from there he had some big moments. Kyle Laren, certainly, just scoring for fun and goals win soccer games.
Yes,
Jonathan David might have had some ups and downs during qualifiers, still had the hat-trick against Suriname, clutch goal against Haiti, scored those huge goals in the January window where Canada was missing Davies. They were missing Eustaquio, so they're all great moments. But I just think from game 1, when they took the field against Bermuda, all the way to game 20, game 20 was against Panama. It doesn't really count, but game 19 against Jamaica where they qualified, Stephen Eustaquio was the constant. Stephen Eustaquio was always there. He played pretty much 80 to 90% of all minutes available, despite no matter the club commitments. At some point, he had 4,000 minutes in one season just because he was playing every minute possible for Canada and Pacos de Ferreira at the time. And he just changed the way Canada played in midfield. He'd control the ball. He'd defend his life out. And what was remarkable about Eustaquio is that he seemed to have his best performances in the biggest games. Like, he was excellent against Suriname. He was phenomenal against Haiti. He balled out at the Azteca. He balled out, on the road in the Azteca, away against the U.S. He was there for all these big games and just showed up. And I think because of that, the way he controlled midfield, and really, we talk about how good Canada's defense was. Stefan Eustaquio had a huge part in that. We talk how good Canada's offense was. He also had a huge part in that. I just think he became irreplaceable and it showed over the course of the journey.
Yeah, and if we needed that reminder, which we didn't, and I wish we didn't have that reminder of, you think of the players on that list, if they're not available for any moments, whose absence is felt the most? Like today, it would never happen. Alphonso Davies could have been taken off the pitch today. Like you're missing the star power. You're missing Alphonso Davies and who he is. The X factor, for sure. And don't take anything away from that, because there is something. He does his teammates a big service, even when he's like. We don't need to get into like the media hysteria from some journalists, but that's the guy that's getting asked the questions of all the time. Like, that takes pressure off. Now, there's people who step up and do sort of that speaking role, like Alistair Johnston, who deserves a ton of credit as well. But like, Davies has a clout on and off the pitch. But when you're talking about performances on it, I don't want to say David and Larin are interchangeable, although at times they have been. For me, when Steph got hurt and he told the bench, I don't think I can go anymore. I think Herdman probably knew they were in for a world of hurt. And the second half against Croatia was a world of hurt. Today, in the first half against Morocco, was a world of hurt. He is that glue guy that makes everyone else around him better. And I think, especially when you consider stock rising, like I remember when he declared that he was going to play for Canada, and like a lot of people who don't follow closely, and like, let's not pretend that there are the vast majority of the supporters of this team, especially in the World Cup, are like in the minutia. Like, it could tell you anyone else who plays for Paços de Ferreira. Everyone's like, oh, this is interesting. Like, you'd like to see dual nationals decide that they want to represent Canada. And I mean, he's a legend of Leamington, Ontario now, but he is I think the motor for this team, and will be for a lot of years. So I think another clean sweep, 3 for 3 from us.
Well, I'd say last point on Stefan Eustaquio, just to get the last point out. One thing Eustaquio I've noticed as well. You mentioned the making people around him better. He's one of the rare floor raisers on this team. He's the guy that when you're in, everyone benefits in the overall level of Canada. Because Canada has a lot of ceiling raisers, guys who have such incredible potential, X factor. When they're on their game, they have these moments, they break the game apart. But a guy like Eustaquio, like you mentioned, he drags everyone in the fight. He makes guys better. You throw no matter who in beside him, he doesn't care. He'll go out and do a job. Look how good he was at the Gold Cup, for example. He went out there missing a lot of the big guns and just carried the team. So that's the one thing with Eustaquio which has to be given credit. And those are the kind of players that Canada's going to need beyond those stars, is those guys who can just raise the floor of everyone around them and make guys punch above their weight, feel bigger than they are.
And because I don't like to be told who gets the last word, I'm going to give the last word to Josh. When you think about Belgium too, it seemed like, how the narrative is really easy. Canada was dominant in the first half. Is Canada that dominant against Belgium in the first half if he's not playing?
No, and on top of that, I mean, look at qualifying. 7 games without Alphonso Davies.
Yeah.
Take Eustaquio out for those 7. I don't think you get the same results. So for us, it's Eustaquio, but I have a feeling that the chat may not agree with us.
There's some star power on that list. Okay, the winner of the MVP of the journey, the player of the journey, is Alphonso Davies.
It's that Panama goal.
It's a Panama goal. That's the moment, right?
That
like,
is the
that
moment.
That's the moment of the journey that I think that brought a lot of the casuals in.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we sometimes, the soccer media, have inferiority complex isn't the right word, but you sort of want other outlets in our own country and around the world to pay attention. And like, when somebody gives you a moment like that, that's what captivates. So look, I don't think you were going to go wrong with anyone on that list, but we're 0 for 2. We got to step up our game a little bit here. Okay, our next award is Defender of the Tournament. Well, Defender of the Journey cannot be won by Alphonso Davies, so we're going to have a new winner on this. Different players deserving the shout for different reasons. I don't know that there was one defender who was consistently excellent, and that's probably reflective of the record, but that doesn't diminish the shifts that they put in at different times. I will go to Alex for the first word on this award, your Defender of the World Cup.
Yeah, well, I'm curious to see if we'll finally see a bit of difference between us three, but I'm going to go Alistair Johnston. I just think he was probably the most consistent, and I think consistency is the key for defense, because you can have the great moments, but ultimately you're going to need to be relied upon even in your toughest moments. And with Alistair Johnston, he always seems to overcome his tough moments. Like against Belgium, he was fighting it. Eden Hazard was giving him a mare of a time, and he still found his way to fight through it, make some hard tackles, just overall not get overcome by that. And again, against Croatia, tough situation, he held on, had a good game. Today against, Morocco, we didn't notice him much. That's a great thing for a defender. You don't want to notice your defender. So Alistair Johnston, he's just been so consistent. There's a reason why he starts every game back to back to back, and he's set the record for most consecutive appearances. And that's just what it's well over 30, I think, at this point. So and that's what he does. Consistency, a bit of guts, a bit of blood, the thunder, all of that good stuff, but also he brings a bit of polish, a bit of good passing. It's so fantastic to see what he's going to be able to do at Celtic.
Josh.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. I'm a big fan of Alistair Johnston. I think for the tournament alone, though, I'm going to lean a little bit more towards Kamal. I think Richie had a good – I think they all – again, no one really shined, but I think that Kamal had – instead of being like the consistent that kind of like Johnston was, I think Kamal had a couple of really good highs and then a little bit low. Like, he was a little bit more unbalanced, but I thought those highs were pretty impressive. And I just wanted to give Kamal a little bit of love because I'm usually all Alistair Johnston. But I don't know. You could see you see him when he pumping the ground, making those defensive tackles. I mean, Richie had one too. I really think this one's actually pretty close, but I'm going to lean towards Kamal a little bit just to kind of shake it up. I thought he had a pretty well-rounded tournament. But
So I'm annoyed you voted for Kamal because I was going to do that to be the dissent. Since I'm breaking the tie now, for all that Kamal did well, and he did a lot well, especially, I mean, we talked about it during the match, he needed to be excellent because center back is such a relative weakness for this team, and I thought he did a very good job, but I do have to give it to Alistair Johnston. And I sort of mentioned earlier, I'll be quick on this, but there's so much that Alistair is becoming on and off the field for this team. He's kind of like the unofficial spokesperson now, and he's incredibly articulate and well-spoken. And that's not nothing, especially when the eyes of the world want access to your team. He delivers time and time again. He's analytically wonderful. He's well-spoken. He can have a bit of fun when the time calls for it, but then on the field, he's fearless. He's up, and rarely is he going on those offensive journeys at a bad time. His timing on when he wants to commit is fantastic. And then on the ball, I mean, you shouted out some of the names he was up against and did a fantastic job. So for me, Alistair Johnston gets my vote and gets the majority out of the three of us. Let's see if the supporters agree. And the answer is... Thank you, mice in the ceiling. Kamal Miller wins Defender of the Tournament. Honestly, I can't say I have much to disagree with that.
Good choices.
Fantastic. Yeah, some very good choices. On to some of the more fun off-field moments. Here is our best quote of the tournament. The best effing quote of the tournament. The obvious one, it's in the title of the award. And some love from outside of Canada, too. Not just a Canada-specific. Alistair Johnston nearly broke my phone. Tata Martino with a ton of praise. And then Kevin De Bruyne in like the most unbelievably, bizarrely weird Belgian tournament that I think we've seen in a while. Some good choices. Josh, who are you going to go with?
I mean, it's weird because I kind of want to go with KDB because I agree. He's like, we didn't play good. I didn't play good. You gave us award for absolutely no. It was very neat to watch. So I think I might go with him, but the reason the Herdman one is fun is because it caught major media. Got
Didn't end up being very fun in the
I was
end,
gonna
but
say,
I
that's
do
the
know where
reason-
you're going with it.
Is it the best quote because it peed off.
A good quote isn't boring though.
that's true.
A good quote brings drama of all sorts,
It was
right?
also,
Like
for me, KDB's like kind of dry, like personality. Like his face. He's like, I don't know, just right to the point. It kind of cracked me up. But I think because Herdman's gonna win, I'll be a little bit different. I'll go with the KDB quote.
I'm gonna go with the Alistair Johnson one. I just thought the delivery on him, just like, so it was so typical Alistair Johnson. He was like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna comment on the rumors, but my phone nearly exploded this weekend, and I probably need a new phone." And it was just something about the candidness and the way Alistair Johnson delivered it. I thought it also does help that it was like a brighter spot. the F. Herdman quote, obviously, I think legendary in terms of just the drama and everything. But in the end, the result maybe didn't benefit Canada, and then the other ones compliments of Canada, but we knew that. I just thought the Johnson one was funny and just caught me off guard when I was reading it. It was just so typical Alistair.
Yes, authentic, typical Alistair. Definitely some love there. I'm not voting for John Herdman because I spent too much time looking at Photoshopped men and talking about what it was and would he regret it? Did the players rally around it? And also it made Croatia insufferable. The prima donna takes from them. Remember us, remember us, remember us. And like fair play, they won the game. But for me, overrated. Tata Martino giving Canada that much love in their first appearance in 3.5 decades for me gets it. Because one of the things that we as the Canadian media and Canadian supporters wanted to see Canada do in this tournament was turn some heads, make other nations take note. And I know Tata isn't having the best time right now either, but for someone of his stature and position to put that much commendation on the Canadians for me was my favorite quote of the tournament thus far. Let's see what everyone else has to say. I feel like I'm 0 for
I feel like
4.
we're gonna be wrong again, all of us.
And the winner of Best Quote, would you believe that it is F Croatia? John Herdman wins Best Quote. Most polarizing. It was the most heard quote.
Whatever Adam and I say is the kiss of death. Right?
That's right. Don't listen to us. If you want a recommendation, don't ask us. Top moment of the tournament is next. Some very worthy nominees in that category, some of the more lighthearted variety, some of years and years of blood, sweat, and tears, and also just a national unifying moment. Alex Gange-Ruzik, your top moment of the tournament.
I'm going to go with Eustaquio nutmegging Kevin De Bruyne. I mean, obviously a lot of the moments were more iconic and will probably stand out in the history books. But let's be honest. We knew Canada was going to score their first goal eventually. I mean,
Get another one.
if they didn't score a goal between now and 2026, it was gonna happen at some point. And Atiba Hutchinson was gonna get his 100 caps. He was gonna get his flowers this tournament. We knew that. But the fact that Stefan Eustaquio, there was something about the bravado that Stefan Eustaquio showed on that play against. This is a guy that he finished third in the Ballon d'Or vote this year. Kevin De Bruyne. He was the highest Ballon d'Or votee player in this tournament with Sadio Mane and Karim Benzema out. He's arguably the best midfielder in the world. And Stefan Eustaquio just went out, not just nutmegged him, he forced it through his legs and ran hi, I got you. It was boom, he meant it. It was for him, it looked like he was back on a park in Leamington and he was shoving it through, Mauro Eustaquio's legs in the backyard, no problem. The bravado, he almost looked back. He's yeah, I did that. You damn right, you're going to be thinking about that all night, and then whips in a great ball. I just thought it kind of exemplified the bravado, the hunger, the desire, the skill that Canada's all about now, and I think that's the sort of energy that in 4 years, when they really start to put it all together, we're going to see a lot of, and I think it kind of exemplified that, hey, we can do these sorts of things on the big stage. This isn't Canada that's 9 men behind the ball, just run and pray anything happens. It's no, if you give us a chance, it's going to go through your legs, and we're going to, try to make you pay for this sort of stuff.
And soon, those moments in the next decade or so are going to become commonplace. But I think because it again in that first game felt so important. And then, Morrow's the happiest person. It's like, not only is it proud brother, but it's also, I feel so much better about all the times I've been nutmegged that KDB just got done by my brother. Josh, your vote.
I mean, it's a good shout. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but it's like
You?
yeah, well, just a little bit. I mean, I love the Meg, lost the match.
Yeah.
I think the 100th cap was pretty special. I wanted to go for it, but Atiba put in a pretty underrated performance as well, and we got some smacks. So I mean, maybe that's now like kind of overdoing it. And even though we lost 4-1, and this was, I'm overthinking it, I still think that goal from Davies is going to be something I remember for the rest of my life. We were all here. We screamed up and down. I tried to hug you. You completely avoided me. Grabbed the buzzer, almost hit me off.
me the red
Get
light.
off of me, Josh. I'm celebrating. So it was just a very special moment because we watched 90 minutes of not getting it when we thought we were going to get it with the penalty. So it's 36 years in the making. It was a special moment. We got to do it with all you guys as well. So I'll remember that. I'm very glad we got that goal. It was euphoria, and then it kind of came crashing down where the cap and the nutmeg was, that's just me personally. I'm probably right on this one, I think, if I'm going to be a betting man. But
As he looks down at the
Looks at
poll,
the chat.
I think I'm going to be right.
Yeah, Josh right now is just absolutely running all the betting, like the favorites on this. Plus 100 on everything. No plus 1600s for Josh.
I will add that the Davies one is probably what I'm going to remember the most too, and the meaning of it. I'm conflicted because my vote for this award is something I didn't even get to see because I was stuck on the Gardiner Expressway. But I think for a lot of Canadians, it is hearing the anthem of Canada for the very first time at the World Cup. And because I think for so many, that's part of the pomp and pageantry of the World Cup and the pregame festivities. So to hear "O Canada," to see everyone sing it, the passion on the faces and of the players, the staff, and the crowd. Chris Hadfield was there, which is still one of the funniest things that's happened in this entire tournament for me. And as just someone who loves a good anthem as a Welsh Canadian, I take a little bit of extra pride in that. So for me, the anthem, despite not seeing it, having to relive it on PVR and Twitter, gets my vote for the top moment. But let's see if Josh and his cheating has prevailed once
To be
again.
fair, I can't really see the vote once I voted, right?
Mm-hmm. That's
I'm not full of cheating.
what the cheaters will say. The top moment of the tournament: Alphonso Davies goal. Hard to argue. Very well done. Very well done. Let's talk about some improvement, and not just some improvement, but the most amount of it. The most improved player. This is probably the toughest one we've had yet. To be honest, you think about the different players and the different roles and jobs they were responsible for throughout this tournament and who exceeded expectations, I think, is also what most improved often brings with it as a connotation. Who did something that you didn't know that they were either capable of or surprised you in how strong they were at it. Alex, your most improved player.
This one's genuinely the toughest. I mean, I'll do, I guess, maybe classic. I don't even know, because I feel like for me, ultimately, I'm going to just go for the first answer that came to mind, and maybe it's a bit bold. I'm going to go Tejan Buchanan, just because I think Ismail Kone, fantastic rise, but it feels like it's kind of, it's been coming for a sense.
He was a good bench player and stayed a good bench player for the way how John deployed him in this tournament.
Yeah, and his rise is continuing. And then Alistair Johnston, he's probably the easy shout. But yeah, he was just kind of thrust in as a starter and then never relinquished it. So and he's just been so solid since day one there. He set the bar high and he stayed there. And then Kamal Miller, I also feel like the same. I feel like his rise is almost underrated because he was so good against the U.S. in 2019. So we kind of already knew Kamal Miller had that in him. But for me, it's Tejan Buchanan. This was just maybe this because of this completely random anecdote I had this morning. But I was bored and I wanted to look back through some old Canada articles to reflect on the beginning of the cycle. And I found one that I'd written. And at the time, this was 2 years ago, and I was writing that Tejan Buchanan was up against it to pass Theo Corbeanu in the depth chart. And I'm just thinking, like, the fact that he went from that and then he's just completely risen from just fighting to even get in the Canada squad. Like, he got sent to Olympic qualifiers versus going in the World Cup squad, as Corbeanu did, because Corbeanu could have gone in the Olympic qualifiers. He ended up getting cap-tied, of course. There was reasons behind that. But still, Buchanan was with the U23s. And then next, within the 6 months, he was scoring these big goals. And it seems like he's just gotten better every time he's putting on the Canada shirt. I just think from where he's gone to where he is now, he's been the most improved.
Josh?
It's tough. I mean, I'm down to the two players as well. I mean, I think with Buchanan, I saw his rise as more of like kind of leading into it. Like we saw him what he did for the Olympic qualifiers, which got everyone's attention. He was doing it for New England. He then got his move for Club Brugge. He's still waiting. I think still got another step to take in my eyes. Not that no one else in this list does. I think it's a completely fair show. Just like Alex said, debating whether to get into the team to being a lockdown starter. I'm gonna go with Ismail Kone just because I think of the first initial jump. This is someone who wasn't even playing professionally not that long ago. He took a giant step, and you could just see a very technically gifted player. He then becomes kind of like that, look what he can do for CF Montreal, now Canada, to being a pillar in that CF Montreal side, a very good CF Montreal side. I think he's the future for Canada. I think it's tough, but I just think because at a first initial jump to see that type of improvement for someone who wasn't playing professionally to where he is now and hopefully getting moved to Europe is where I'm going to land. So I'm going to go with Ismail Kone.
Well, I'll just hop and add to Josh's point on Ismail Kone. What's wild about his rise is he made his professional debut after Canada had played their 17th game out of 20 in this World Cup qualifying journey. So, that's how late he'd come into the cycle, and now he's playing and should have started at the World Cup. So that's just a stat to add to that.
That's the reason why he's not getting my vote, is just I don't think we saw enough for whatever reason, if John wasn't ready or whatever went into that thought process. But, I mean, he was the best sub we had, probably. And that's not nothing. He's playing that finisher role while many of us think he probably deserves more. I do have to ask the judges, though, maybe the judge in particular, is this of the journey or of the tournament? Both. Okay. For that, because I get to choose, my vote actually goes to Kamal Miller.
Good job.
Because I think he became CB1, and I think everyone for the longest time thought it was Vittorius because he's been around for the longest. But there's some moments that aren't going to look great when you're just going through goals against Canada in here. But he had a lot of pressure, and our largest weakness as a country in this tournament. And I thought more often than not he got it right when I don't think many expected him to. And I think CF Montreal is going to be absolutely elated with obviously probably cashing in on Alistair Johnson, but also how well Kone is showing and how well Kamal did. So for me, Kamal Miller gets my vote just to split the three of us. Let's see what the fans say.
Alistair Johnson.
The most improved player goes to Tajon Buchanan.
Yeah.
Tajon.
Fair.
Well done. Well done. Anything to add?
No, just now Tajon hopefully can take that next step because the rise for him has been tremendous, and I think he's be a big part of the national team as everyone else on the list will be as well.
He might be Canada's most important player in Nations League as we get to that very, very soon. Let's move on to the best swag of the tournament. There's a lot to unpack there. There's a lot to unpack here, and they've clearly unpacked the boys for the swag. Sweatpants, GQ in his element, and John Herdman wearing a $25,000 suit, and he looked great in it. Lots of different directions. I guess it will depend on your definition of swag. Alex, who gets your vote for the best swag?
I'm going to go Milan Boyan sweatpants. I'm just not even going to beat around the bush on that. A lot of style icons on this Canadian men's national team. A lot of slept-on style guys, but I just think Milan Boyan, as soon as he pulled up in the gray sweatpants against Costa Rica in Edmonton, there's just something about it. It was just so, and what's just forgotten again, the snoot he had that made him look like Buzz Lightyear. Yep. It was something about just they almost looked like they were about to rip at the seams. They were tattered, 18 desperately thrown on there. And then he went out and kept a clean sheet against Costa Rica. Then he should have kept a clean sheet against Mexico, then saved the team with the goal line save that might have been the best save of the entire journey. I just think something about the Boyan sweatpants, again, if the Davies goal made everyone believe, and if other moments, brought people together, it's just something great about Milan Boyan dressed like he was about to play a soccer game somewhere in Hamilton.
just carefree as you like, just balling out. Like the thing is, he had his best performances in the sweatpants. There's iconic trajectory associated with this. So I'm just going the sweatpants.
It has to be that. The sweatpants are currently in the Hall of Fame. So, I mean, that's the thing. And also spare a thought for the kit man who had to find a way to get 18 on those pants just before kickoff. For the record, I loved In His Element. I thought that Osorio piece was fantastic. But, I mean, it's the sweatpants.
Yeah, it's not even close. When you have multiple Twitter accounts named after Borjan's sweatpants, when you grab anyone else in the world, what's it like playing in Canada in November? Just show them a picture of Milan Borjan. Style, there's just not much to say. And the performances to back, he just was comfortable in them. And comfortability is important here. So I'm going with Borjan for sure.
And there's just the last piece of it for me is ever since that Josh Cloak article where they were speaking about Milan smoking a cigarette in the shower after the game. That's exactly where my brain goes, and that is why the snud, smoke, and sweatpants, the S cube for Milan Borjan gets our vote. What does the chat have to say? Oh, it might be close.
That'd be a fun game. Take a picture of Milan Borjan smoking a dark sweatpants. Like, is this a soccer dad in Hamilton, or is this the CanMNT
or is this
starting goalkeeper?
Canada's starting goalkeeper at the World Cup? This is so close. Okay.
Get your votes in.
One last call for votes.
Okay, so let's then spare a thought for John Herdman then. While we're stalling a little bit, we're vamping to get the final votes in. If you're on the fence, you've got to get your votes in right now, chat.
We're representing her.
Let's think about the gentleman in the suits beside me, and Alex being topless for some reason.
I wanted the job, so.
That's right. There's so much is happening in this shot right now. It is unbelievable. The John Herdman suit was a big departure from the bomber jacket that we were used to. What did you make of him dressing up for the occasion?
See, I'm torn because I'm always like team dress up for the occasion. I'm always one to, surprise. Some days it's tracksuit, some days I'll pull out the full suit. So I do sympathize with Herdman on that regard. But it just, if this makes sense, it feels like it didn't necessarily fit Canada in a sense with Herdman. Like Herdman dressed immaculately. The haircut, the line in the side of his head, the low button. I'm here for it. Like in terms of style, I'm here for it. I just felt like in terms of Canada's scrappy underdog, sweatpant wearing, short sleeves in the winter wearing, just grit. It felt a bit weird to have the sweatpants, or not the sweatpants, the suit. I feel like what I'll go to is Senegal, my other team, the team I'm rooting that they can beat England. Just there's something great about the way that they play and how just they're so. They dominate games in midfield. They make things tough. They defend well. And then you look over at Aliou Cisse, and he's just got the hat and the dreads and the tracksuit. It fits Senegal. Like his style, where he's both cool but also just like he has a purpose. That's how Senegal plays. And I look over at Canada. It felt like Herdman's suit was almost a bit too polished, a bit too clean for how Canada wants to go out and make things physical, make things fight for each other.
I would have loved to have seen John in a jean jacket or like the buffalo plaid. Just like really lean into it if you're going to do it. But like, hey, I'm one of the few things hockey does better than anyone else is that the coaches are always buttoned up and they look fantastic all the time. The NBA and the NFL are especially bad for that. Defensive coordinators wearing jumpers it doesn't matter. Now I think we have a vote. And by a whisker, by an elastic waistband, Milan Borjan, the best swag. And for me, it's a no-doubter. Congratulations, Milan. You will always have this. We're going to forget about the Morocco for school. We're going to move on from that to the best celly. And if I don't get a nominee for this, I'm going to be furious. So clearly a notable omission for my reaction to Canada's first ever goal. That's fine. I'm not that mad about it. But on field, where it matters the most, it's going to be the snowbank in a landslide. I'm going to take the first word here. That is one of the most preposterous and yet, somebody had to do it. Yeah. If nobody did it, I never would have forgiven them. But you talk about like Milan and the swag thing about Canada. That was Canada. That is the clip that went everywhere. And just the fact that it was Sam too. He's the most unassuming person on that team. So for him to have that moment, although I did like the reflect and refocus, because like you were saying while they were rolling, it was bonkers.
It was so
It
loud.
was
That was one of the
bonkers at
loudest
Tim Hortons
stadiums
Field.
I've heard for a
Yeah.
CanMNT game. Even louder than the 33,000 and for.
And I mean, that's credit to how it's designed in Hamilton. But for me, it's the snowbank. Josh?
Again, show me what it's like playing soccer in Canada. Borian, show me what it's like scoring a goal in Canada. Atiba, like he didn't even score the goal, but I mean, he's not gonna take away from the celebration that he's gonna jump into a snowbank. It's not. Those are some good celebrations. I like Eustaquio's face. Also created a bunch of like memes and stuff. But no, it's hands down. It's one of the greatest celebrations I've ever seen. I absolutely love it. Atiba.
It's the moment of like for me, like we're talking about moments, like that's the moment of qualifying for me. I think the occasion, everything. Also, Josh saying I like Eustaquio's face is probably the best thing from this particular video. Alex?
Well, I mean, I'd say Atiba just for reasons. Shorts. He's in short sleeves. He like
Took his shirt off and then jumped in. I think that might have been.
What's hilarious? He's left back. Like that means he literally sprinted from his post at left back, just like beeline. He had one thing in his mind. Everything about that's iconic. I also give love to Atiba. Just the fact that he was able to calm down. Like, what's great about all of Canada's celebrations is how unhinged they are. Like, even if you think, like, Davies scores that goal against Panama, like, he was shushing his home crowd by accident. Liam Miller two-footed him and almost ended his career. Like,
David shoved him in the chest.
yeah, like, there's always, like, these, like, people, Cavallini headbutted Davies once against the Cayman Islands. Like, imagine you lose your best player because Lucas Cavallini headbutted Alphonso Davies. Heck, even at the World Cup, Liam Miller headbutted Alphonso. I don't know what's up with Alphonso Davies and headbutts. Like, you go through the list, like,
They need to be careful with him.
like Canada's just so unhinged, so like off the charts. Like that's Atiba jumping into the snowbank. So that's why I do appreciate on the other side, Atiba just in the wildest of moments. Like he went end to end. Sam Atiba, his first ever Canada goal went end to end, scored a world, and he just goes to corner, and it's just like he's meditating. It's just like, yep, all is good here. No, nothing to worry about. So I did think that was a pretty special moment.
And I think it's one of the reasons why the country did fall in love with this team. Is it's unhinged and blue collar and just
Chaotic.
Perfect. The journey was amazing, but there could only be one best celebration, and it is, of course, the snowbank. Congratulations, Ms. Atiba.
Deserved winner.
Thing too about that is everyone else around it. Like the stadium obviously losing their mind, but it's for me it's the fans that are like picking up snow and throwing it in the air like LeBron James, people chugging Carlsberg. It was all Carlsberg. But just enjoying the moment, and like that is, whether you were there in person or watching on TV, like that is one of those where were you, what were you doing when you saw it for the first time.
Also, I just want to highlight before we forget, shout out Stefan Eustaquio on that goal. Yes. It's forgotten, but he, for whatever reason, sprints about 15 feet away from everyone. Everyone's dogpiling. Atiba's in the snow. Eustaquio went, threw some snow on himself, and just did snow angels for 20 seconds on his own. I feel like that was also a forgotten moment because everyone was so honed in on Atiba doing well that Eustaquio's moment also deserves some love.
Yeah. Chad, I hope this is cathartic for me. Today, the tournament didn't go great, but like reliving these is visceral and is wonderful. Next up, our 9th award of 10 is the cheekiest moment of the journey. There is no pattern to those moments whatsoever. In no way. And there's a lot of different directions that we could take this particular award. The cheekiest moment, spare a thought for Jonathan David in that goal. I think, like, literally that's the first time we're coming to that in our awards from the journey, and ending the curse, but also just the control of it. And I think when you think back to Qatar, like, you missed that Jonathan David for sure. But that's not what we're here to discuss. We're here to discuss the cheekiest moment. When I think of cheeks, I think of Josh Deming. You get the first word here.
I mean, it's It's not like this goal mattered. It was a friendly before the World Cup, and this is a player who doesn't start and more than likely will never take a penalty at a World Cup. Says Jonathan David, let me take this, and then do a Panenka, and that almost didn't go in, and then see the the bench laugh at her. I think that was some incredible goals, but I'm going like just pure moment of cheekiness. I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting Cavallini to take it, let alone walk up and pull off a Panenka that just cheekily sneaks over. I don't know. For me, it's cheekily sneaks over the line. I'm going Cavallini just because of the audacity to pull that off in a game that means nothing.
That is the word for it for sure.
Yeah, a lot of great moments there. I do want to give my 2 honorable mentions just because I'm always giving love for some underrated moments that just spring to mind now. Lucas Cavallini against Mexico at the Azteca comes in and started a brawl. I also thought that was incredibly cheeky that he was brought in and just the game was tilting in Mexico's favor, and then by the end of it they were throwing hands and there was a line brawl. And on that other theme, Daniel Henry against Panama on the corner where he was just like pushing the guy out of the way, and then there is that whole brouhaha, and then the coach is getting into it. So shout out to that. But in terms of moments, I'm gonna have to just go Milan Borjan, and again shout out to Joshua Cloak for providing the visuals. But not only is that save hilarious, not only him like running up and beating his chest like he's King Kong hilarious because he's in his hometown, but what's magnificent is now I can watch that and pair it with this har laugh that he's doing. So like imagine you're Weston McKennie in that case, or Hector Herrera earlier against Mexico. Great header, Borjan saves it, and then you're pissed and you look down and then the back of your ear just and then probably like, yes, I'm the number one, as he's just slamming his chest looking at the crowd. So I just give Milan Borjan because that's just so unbelievably cheeky. It's one thing to get stopped by this Buzz Lightyear looking dart smoking goalkeeper in sweatpants. It's another thing to hear things like that.
This whole segment I'm thoroughly enjoying. I hope you are as well, chat. Is like you think about how fortunate we've been to be a part of it, and it is a good bit of therapy after what we saw today and the past few matches. But I think too about Azteca, and like again, I was 6 feet away from Milan doing that. So when you do the heart, and it's a fantastic impression by the way, that's right up there. Honorable mention to the Mexicans after the game at the Azteca saying, every time I exhaled, I saw some of my soul leave my body. I was like, that's wonderful. But you guys missed what we were doing here. It's the cheekiest moment, and it's Atiba Hutchinson scoring with his butt, and it's the only possible answer. If Atiba Hutchinson's going to score a goal, it might as well be like that. So Teebs gets my vote. Let's see what the chat has to say. Or are we vamping? We're very close again. Who are our nominees? Our last.
All 4 are within the 20% range, so you got to get your votes in.
Ooh, chat, you got to get your votes in.
Now we'll have to.
Let's give another 60 seconds.
Another 60 seconds. Okay, so we got 2 honorable mentions from Alex. Do you have an honorable mention to throw in there too?
For the cheekiest moment. Trying to define cheeky because he said it's all.
That's just pretty cheeky. That Panama defender wasn't expecting it.
Actually, you know what? You want to throw back? I'll throw it completely back.
Sure.
Game 1, Bermuda. Theo Corbin now.
Yeah.
Remember when he did that Ronaldo touch, or not the Ronaldo, the Neymar touch? I just thought that was maybe a bit of a tone setter for what was to come for Canada. These unheralded heroes that we never heard before, just going out with complete bravado.
And then he started his own dance move. And who was it in the CPL that did that? Was it Farsi? Or was it Ensa? One of the York United players did it in a game. I remember saying, "Is that the Corbin?" And we couldn't believe that I used that as a reference in commentary because it's just such a niche Canadian soccer reference. On the topic of Cavallini starting brawls, that also gets a nod from me. And before Kamal at the corner, it was literally Tejan and Lucas Cavallini almost getting into a fist fight behind me because for whatever reason with COVID they blocked those seats off behind the bench, so they put the players like 2 seats away from each other. So it's just Tejan leaning over the bench screaming at the Panamanians, and Cavallini, who I don't think touched the field that game, was just ready to fight anyone that came near him. It was absolutely wonderful. And we do have a winner now, the cheekiest moment, and it is the correct answer. Well done, chat. Atiba Hutchinson's goal with his cheeks. Cheekiest moment. Cheekiest moment takes us to the very end. The Veteran Award. A little nod to our vets. of all the honors that Dwayne De Rosario has received in his career, I don't know that this one will be top of the list, but it should be very high. For the most improved veteran. Important veteran, sorry. See, I can't read. It's been a long stream. The most important veteran. There's a lot of ways to define this and a lot of directions to take it. And I'm not ready to make a decision yet, so I'm going to go to Josh and make him go first.
I think the Canada documentary really pushed Borjan for me. I mean, the huddles, the passion, the fact that he's clearly insane in the best way possible. Right. Just the way that I would love a president.
It's jarring to hear it out loud, but you're right.
If I was a youngster in that huddle, and I had someone like him just throwing me around, getting you fired up, the way that Atiba, when he went to put the sword in and missed, and then Borjan just laughed at him, and just he's clearly a leader. He's clearly a locker room favorite, and I can't imagine from what we don't see that he does to help this group out. I love everything about him, and we've talked him up a lot through some different awards. But for me, I just feel like it's personality. That's the reason I think he's a little bit above the other three. But they're all incredible veterans to this team. They've done a lot for it. But for me, just that documentary, what Borjan's about, is probably where I got to put my vote.
Alex?
Yeah, I mean, tough choice. I think Josh makes a great show with Borjan. I'd be inclined to agree. I think you always have to give love to Atiba Hutchinson just for the sacrifice he did at this age to continue making these 18-hour flights.
Come back from injuries.
Yeah, go play his heart out, and then just go back to club and then go play his heart out for Canada after coming so close to retiring. I think Steven Vittoria was super again. He had some huge moments at the back. I'm going to go Junior Hoylett, though, just because it feels like his evolution has been the most fascinating, because obviously early in his career there was hesitancy to, join Canada. He always wanted that England call-up. And then in the end, he committed to Canada, and it was exciting because he had a Premier League level player. But then maybe the team around him wasn't always great, and it was a tough slog for him at these few years. But I just feel like he's really coming to his own on this team, and especially as a leader, because he's always been a quiet guy, but now he's a guy he'll wear the armband, he'll make these speeches, he might not be the loudest guy, and I just feel like he was so underrated during qualifying. Is that you asked a player of his caliber, a player who's playing the Premier League at times, playing in high levels of the championship, and sometimes he'd play 5 minutes, sometimes he'd get 90, and every time he'd just be so consistent, so silky, just such a quiet, unassuming leader. And I think sometimes that's what you need for this Canadian side, because there's no shortage of boisterousness in this locker room. You have Milan Borjan yelling at you. You got Daniil Henry, who was just an amazing character. You got a lot of guys like that. You got, Atiba Hutchinson. When you speak, if Atiba Hutchinson speaks, I bet you the room drops. Like you could hear a pin drop. You got a guy like Vittoria as well. He's a bit, outgoing going there. But there's something about the way a quiet veteran like Hoylett stepped up and really carved out a role that many might not have seen him coming. Like maybe people would have seen him in a different role. So I think he deserves full credit for that.
Yeah, I think you guys outlined everything. The one piece of color that I want to add here, he's not getting my vote, but I just want to say, you think of like Vittoria's role and how much he's sacrificed to over the years. Like you think because center backs naturally not forgotten about, but are just they don't grab the attention. But you think of how long Steven's been and how much he's invested in the team, and like he's on the wrong side of the age curve, and I think that was evident over the tournament. Not what this is about, but he is one of those players where they needed that center back depth through the journey. He had to do a lot, and I will remember just how cool it was to see. I can't remember if it was El Salvador or Panama, but at BMO Field, I think after they had done the team celebrations and gone in and whatever, he stayed out with his kids and just kicked the ball around for like 60 minutes and let them enjoy that. And you think what they might do and what that would mean to them. And it's those little moments for me when I think of veterans and their importance on and off the field that go. But for all the reasons you outlined as well, Junior Hoylett gets my vote. And I think what pushes it over for me is, of that group, Atiba's impactful in different ways. I think Junior might be the most important of that group. I think he played every single position but goalkeeper in this cycle. Like he was all over the place and adapting and still performing and improving. I think doing it with a smile. And I think you think of Atiba and some of the other names on that list, Milan, like they're not getting better. I think Junior is. And I think that's commendable in its own way.
He's aged like a fine wine. Again, like he was just back then, speedy, running at guys, and the way he's evolved into the player he is now has been magnificent.
Well, this is our last award chat. The veteran, it's a tie.
Oh.
Milan Borjan and Atiba Hutchinson.
I think that's
Congratulations.
Very fair vote.
Dwayne Di Rosario Award. It's the 10 awards that we handed out today, thinking back at the journey. I thoroughly enjoyed this, Chad. I hope you did too. By the way, comment below who you think should get some love or for forgetting any moments or some write-ins. But I guess in some way, Josh and Alex, this is kind of like our initial farewell to this. Now, this is media. We're going to do this over and over and over again, and we're going to talk about it until 26 rolls around. But just, I guess, if one line from each of you on the journey. Could be anything you want. It's what it meant to you, what do you think it meant to the country, where you think this team is going before we say goodbye, because we just sort of jarred all of those memories loose. What sticks out to you right now?
Just simply being proud. Growing up in a small town, not really having friends or anything to really talk about the sport, to see how it's just come such a long way and what these guys have put into this team, and to get a country behind a national team like this. Yes, we didn't have the most success we wanted, but I'm proud and I'm excited for the future and what's to come with Canadian soccer from all levels, and I'm just super proud of what we're able to experience, what we're able to do, and really looking forward and just genuinely happy. Despite going 0-3, just happy of where the state of Canadian soccer is.
Alex.
I just love how they went about this the Canadian way. I just think from day one where they were in 2018, go all the way back to them playing the Virgin Islands, just how far, how far they came from that first game post 2018 World Cup to now. And what's been great is about the rise is that it's been Canadian. It's been off of the back of this just young, likable group that will fight for each other, a group that represents Canada, that is diverse, that has such fantastic stories. Like I'm just drawn to all the stories on the team. This isn't necessarily, this is a team that reflects Canada. You've got players from all over that have been involved in the journey. I just loved how everyone went out and fought for each other in the Canadian way. They had each other's backs. In tough moments, they dragged each other up. They celebrated together. Every goal was celebrated together. This wasn't some lucky fluke. This wasn't some moment where they maybe took advantage of a bit of luck and ran with it. This wasn't a case where this was a fractured group just relying on their talent and going far. They do it the Canadian way, and as Canadians, we are underdogs. We take our strengths, which usually are togetherness, and then other things around that, and maximize and push and rise each other. And that's what's great about this group is you can look at all 35 players that were involved, all the coaches, all the staff that was involved, and it was just like everyone played a role in this journey that was together, and I just felt that was very beautiful and very Canadian.
Two very eloquent points. I will leave you with this, chat, and that is I want you all to remember that Canada was not supposed to be here. So you can be disappointed, and I think you should be disappointed. That's part of being a passionate supporter. But this was a moment for all the former players, the alum that weren't able to make that step, some that we work with here at One Soccer, to rally together and celebrate something that they struggled to achieve for so long. And it's a fast forward to 2026 when we know we're going to be there. We know we're going to be better. And this World Cup, despite not having the results, provided us, as we just reflected on, some unbelievable moments, but that taste of what it is going to take. And you think Canada in a knockout round of some variety against a top 5 team again next. Maybe it's Brazil. Maybe it's Argentina at BMO Field in 2026. Or BC Place. I'm just saying because I'm looking at the BMO Field picture right here. Don't get me in trouble with the Vancouverites.
That's what I'm here for.
But just think about what this country was able to experience together, and be frustrated because you want more, as you should, but celebrate an incredible journey. What a journey it was. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed our top 10 awards of this incredible World Cup moment for Canada.